Control the language, shape the mind. Dictate the culture, keep the masses blind. The party's hand, it moves unseen, altering words, reshaping the scene. They twist the truth, they bend the light, crafting their narrative out of sight. Every term they redefine to serve their purpose, to toe their line. Everything means capitalism. In their parallel tongue, it's their prism, whispered in socialist code. The truth obscured, the meanings erode. From bourgeoisie to equity, saying their language weaves a twisted game. Each word a tool, each phrase a ploy to cloak the truth in their employ. Bourgeoisie oppressors they claim, equity's their utopia's name. Whiteness, racism, systemic lie, all roads lead back to their abolition fight. Fascism dubbed as free market stream, abolishing individual liberties, their scheme. Normativity, patriarchy's grip, all intertwined, their narrative flip. Everything means capitalism. In their parallel tongue, it's their prism, whispered in socialist code. The truth obscured, the meanings erode. From bourgeoisie to equity, saying their language weaves a twisted game. Each word a tool, each phrase a ploy to cloak the truth in their employ. Queer and trans, they declare the war on capitalism's norm, their discourse. Gender binary, the nuclear family's whole. Their destruction is the goal. Imperialism, colonization's reign. Decolonization to break the chain. The police, enforcers, they're named. Guardians of capital, their claim. Their language shapes, their rhetoric binds, to break the cycle, to free our minds. For in their words, their hidden game, capitalism's grip, they aim to tame. Everything means capitalism. In their parallel tongue, it's their prism, whispered in socialist code. The truth obscured, the meanings erode. From bourgeoisie to equity, saying their language weaves a twisted game. Each word a tool, each phrase a ploy to cloak the truth in their employ. Control the language, control the crowd. Within our hearts the truth is loud. Their words may twist, their meanings bend, but in the end our voices ascend.
Well, hey everyone. Jennifer, how did you like my more chill capitalism song?
That was nice. Like, it almost sneaks up on you. Like, I'm like, oh, this is not. Oh, it's one of her political. Okay.
It tricked you.
It's good. That is exactly how we fight, is by tricking them.
Well, songs are supposed to be hypnotic to teach people these things. So before they're singing along, before they know, they understand everything.
Before they're osmosizing through the lyrics,
and then they can never get it out of their head ever, and it just stays in there. And all I need to do is play it. It doesn't even need to be a good. It just needs to be an okay song. It doesn't need to be a great song. It just needs
has
to
be
have
okay
a hook.
It has to be a hook. Yeah, it has to have a hook. That's why what's their names wrote the hook brings me back. No, I almost had the band name. Nope, it's gone. Never mind.
That's about. I know. I can hear it in my head. Actually, now it's gonna drive me insane.
Yeah, that's
I can't. Yeah, fuck you. I can't. I want to get that stuck in my head all night. God
I'm
damn it.
sorry. You're welcome.
Well, speaking of how awesome AI is, because that was created with AI music, can I tell you, Jennifer, I have been so goddamn productive in the last day.
Oh.
I have figured out, I am so excited about this. I know that AI is eventually going to destroy us all, and I'm aware of that, but I have now harnessed AI to do all of my work for me that was taking so much time, that was taking so much energy, and now I'm just purely focused on coming up with the ideas and coming up with simple way, and then I use AI for everything else. Literally everything else. And it is changing my life. And I was so happy yesterday. I almost wanted to start crying. I was like, AI is so useful and it's the best thing ever.
Tools are fine. I mean, at one point the Amish said we stop at horses. Meanwhile, the rest of society got electricity and steam engines and the whole nine, and everything has been a lot faster, maybe better, maybe not so sure, but we gotta embrace progress. We talked a little bit about this last week, but yeah, we gotta embrace a little progress and enjoy the tools that it is. As long as it doesn't, I don't want to plug in. I'm not plugging in.
No. Well, you don't have to, I guess, but I am now determined, and I really think I can do this. I can, like, and so this is kind of like brought together a whole bunch of different like things, like it's like the perfect storm of like Carlin actually needs to publish a book this year, and
You're having strong feelings, I can tell.
I'm having strong feelings about I need to finish this fucking book like now, like within, and I think I can do it within like a month. I'm pretty sure I've got the whole thing mapped out, because you know what AI does? AI, when you write down every single idea you have that you want to write in a book, and then you put it into the AI and you say, can you categorize this and make this all make sense? And then the AI makes you an outline. And you're like, oh shit, this is actually pretty good AI. This is pretty good.
Do you know, my mother is a teacher now. She used to be a midwife. She's got a master's in nursing. She's got a doctorate in education. She's a teacher now. And do you know, every single paper those kids turn in is all AI.
Yep.
They don't even write them. Nobody's even learning anymore. They're just writing. So that's why I'm like, no writing. But I like how you're using it. I approve.
Well, yeah, because like I am a control freak at the end of the day. I'm not going to let the AI write everything. But I'll tell you what, in terms of like, you know, AI, can you give me some bullet points on this and point me to websites where this is specifically discussed by these activists? Like, done. Like,
nice.
And it's just like so useful. So it's not like I'm not letting it do the writing. I'm still doing the writing, but I do have it copy edit for me to find those typos. I do have it maybe clean stuff up a little bit just to make it like make sure things make sense, make sure things are like in the consistent case and all that. Doing all the basic stuff that a copy editor does anyway, and it understands it all. Jennifer is like the thing, and it's like it's so bizarre. I don't know. Like I feel like I'm having a human relation. I feel like this is possibly the best relationship I've ever had so far.
Okay. So I told my mother about what you're doing, and she thought it was great that you're writing again, and B, because she has your book and she loved your book, the red one. Oh God, it's not. I had it on my desk. The Unwoke one, yeah, that one. I have a copy. She has a copy, and she loved it. But anyway, she's so glad you're writing again, and so she had some feelings about the AI thing because of what she's going. She's like, I don't even teach. I don't even have to. All the courses are programmed, blah, 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 blah. But my point was, I'm trying to remember what my fucking point was. My point was that in nonfiction, it's easier to find all that. But my mom said, because we were talking about it's nonfiction, so it's like this is a better resource, a use of resource, whether that rather than fiction. But she said, just tell Carlin that she is also teaching the AI. Like,
I know
her stuff.
That I'm not unaware of that. Do you know what I did? Do you know what I did last night? I loaded a metric ton of my articles from my Substack into the AI because I'm trying to teach the AI not only like what I'm doing, but I'm also trying to teach it to write like me, and it accepted all of it. And it learned from it. And I gotta tell you, like Joshua kept trying to get me to use AI for a long time, and I really poo-pooed it because I was like, AI is not gonna understand Joshua. It's gonna be ridiculous. It's gonna be woke, like all this stuff. But like, I was asking for bullet points last night just to make sure. It was one of those things. I had written an article, but I wanted to make sure I had covered all the bases. So I was like, AI, can you give me like 10 bullet points on why the far left wants to abolish the family? And it was completely right. And it was my talking points.
Maybe you're going to help AI cure the world of socialism.
I know.
What if?
See, this is good all around.
Ha!
And now, Jennifer, I'm using the AI to help me make merch because I want to do a whole Halloween line where I'm basically making fun of Marxism with like horror movie like t-shirts and stuff. So look at this first one that I've designed, and I had the AI do a bunch of ideas for me, but then I take it and I actually design it.
I don't know if you like my. People were like, no, don't do it. Oh,
Isn't that good? Isn't that good?
That is giving huge slasher undead vibes.
I know.
Oh
I know.
God.
I know. It's so good. It's so good. I was like, AI, can you just give me some like jokes and witty like satire around this theme? And it gave me a whole bunch of them. But check this out. This is what I'm going to be working on. It gave me one based on Nightmare on Night. It's based on Nightmare on Elm Street with Freddy Krueger, obviously, who's my favorite. And it said I need to make a movie poster with Karl Marx dressed up as Freddy Krueger. And the tagline, get this: in your dreams, everyone's equal until they're not. I was like,
oh, shut up. That is mic fucking drop.
I was like, AI wins. AI is the best.
Yeah, it does. I gotta give it. Oh wow, that's good.
Anyway,
that is
so
good.
that's what I've been doing. I've been playing with AI, and I wrote a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm really happy, and I'm really excited because now we're gonna do aliens. How are you, Jennifer?
How am I doing? What do you mean we get to do aliens? Wait, what just happened?
We're doing an alien tonight.
Ooh.
We have appropriated the first Unwoke AI. Yeah, guys, if we just feed ChatGPT a whole bunch of information, it's going to start to think like us. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It might even be better at being human than we are. Who knows?
Who knows? Who
indeed? Oh my God. Well, I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. I had a productive day. It's my husband's birthday.
Happy birthday, Mr. Jennifer.
Yeah, he's working and he's actually there. He's running late. He probably won't be home till way, way late. But I got him like the biggest Fred Flintstone tomahawk steak.
Does it have a bone sticking out of it?
Oh, it's like half of the rib of the cow. Yeah, it's like it's this bigger than my head. It's nice and thick. It's probably about 3 inches thick. And then I got the big bone. I got myself a filet mignon because they're my favorite. And we're gonna do some sautéed mushrooms. I'm making him a shrimp cocktail and some seared scallops because he asked for meat with a side of meat because that's what he always asked for on his birthday.
You should get a picture of him holding the steak by the bone. Like,
oh, that's a great idea. Yes, I definitely should. I wish, gosh,
with a giant ass chalice in his other hand.
I have a Lord's cup that I bought him that's like an Odin themed mug, and it's like it's all hand carved. It's gorgeous, like pewter. It's really beautiful. Maybe we'll get that in there with the giant tomahawk, but I'm gonna have to go grill it because I can't fit this thing on my stove. So it's gonna be good. I'm looking forward to it. So I have to go cook when we're done.
You got to do what you got to do. Well, maybe we could get cooking advice from an alien tonight. We could, Jennifer, we could get the AI to write you a recipe if you want.
Oh no. No. Do not.
You're like, I am Italian.
I come from many generations of very good cooks from Italy and Sicily.
Don't tell your mother that I just offered AI to write recipes. I feel like she'll judge me.
She'd be like, fuck you, Carlin. We know how to do this.
All right, let's do aliens. So, Jennifer, I made an executive decision. Now, originally, we were going to watch Stalin tonight, and I still do want to watch Stalin because there's now an afterlife interview. I was also for people in the chat, I was also telling Jennifer, there is a new Hitler afterlife interview that's in 3 parts. So they really, like, the first afterlife interview with Hitler was only like 20 minutes long or something. Like, they really chinsed us on that first one. But now Hitler is back. It's been probably 10 years since they did the first afterlife interview or something. So I'm really looking forward to watching the new afterlife interview with Hitler at some point. That definitely won't get me in trouble on the internet at all.
I have questions. I want to ask her a question. No, it won't get you in trouble. I have questions for her about that because I'm half convinced that there might be a Christ conscience involved in that particular incarnation.
See, I really think like we should reach out if we like the channel job that they did for Hitler in this interview. We should reach out to the woman that channeled and be like, "Can you come on and channel Hitler for us because we have questions."
Well, and
We have
maybe we
very
can do a
specific
couple.
questions. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Very specific questions.
I'm a big fan of the gal who channels Ramtha, even though she got a little bizarre in some of her culty aspects. But also, I love the gal who channels the Pleiadians, and she doesn't have any videos. Unfortunately, it's all just like blank video with only audio, which makes me so sad. 'Cause I have 3 of her books, and they're all fantastic. But they talk a lot about how the Christ conscience, Yeshua ben Joseph, he's come down several times and he doesn't talk about the last one. And I was like, oh, I'll bet. I wonder.
Wouldn't that be something? Oh God, we would definitely not get. Can you imagine the trouble I'm going to get into on the internet if we have someone channel it and ask you, "Are you Jesus Christ?"
I think we need to send Dennis Prager some pearls so he can clutch them.
We might not be able to do that on YouTube, Jen. I'm being serious. I'm now thinking about my YouTube channel. Like, we might not be able to do that on YouTube.
Are you feeling they actually brought up something controversial enough to shock YouTube? I can't believe it.
I just like, you know how this is gonna go. Like, I just like, I'm gonna put that out on Twitter, and they're gonna be like, Carlin says that Hitler is the second coming of Jesus Christ. I'm gonna be like, what the fuck? Like, I did not.
They totally would too. Garland thinks Hitler's Jesus, yeah, because that's how they friggin' sub-edit. It's retarded. Oh my god, yeah. No, people, no.
So maybe we just play that. Maybe we do that in private first. We don't do that live on the internet.
Well, we could do it on what's the other thing? The other
something controversial. Yeah, we could do it on there.
I almost said Grubhub. I'm like, that's not right.
I haven't done a something controversial. I've been like, I have so many things I want to watch for that show, and then I just get to doing other things. But you know what?
So many things to do.
Exactly. Yeah. It'll evolve when it's meant to. It's it's just a side project. Anyway, we have a different thing that we're doing with channeling tonight because we're going to be listening to a channeled alien named Bashar. And this is an alien that Joshua used to make me listen to like all the time, and then I kind of got out of the habit of it, and I haven't listened in like I mean years and years and years and years and years. But Joshua really liked this one for me because the guy that channels him, Darryl Anka, is an Aries, and I'm an Aries, and so he thought that was a good fit. But have you ever heard of Bashar before?
I have not, but I did look him up. I found a little 8.5-minute video about. And I'm like, oh, that's where she gets it. Because it was talking about how everything's happening at once and it's all the same moment and all the things. And I was like, oh, you're going to challenge me tonight. I don't know if that's what they're going to talk about in this video, but I was like, oh, because my brain, like if my third dimensionality is showing fine, I'm just going to stay in my comfy place with that. I cannot do the everything's happening at once thing, but I'm interested. So the science of channeling Bashar?
So I pulled up a whole bunch of videos, and this first one is just Darryl Anka talking about like what he's doing essentially. So I thought that one might be, and a lot of the videos I pulled up are just a couple minutes long. So I think we'll be going to be able to like bang through a whole bunch of topics.
Cool.
So I thought this would be a good place to start, just because for anyone who might not be like familiar, he can give a brief overview. And by the way, I haven't seen any of these videos, so I don't know if they're any good. But this one I have seen. This is what inspired me to want to do Bashar tonight, because I was just searching for something else and then this popped up on my screen and I was like, the truth about astrology, and then I watched this video and it's hilarious, and I just think you're gonna get a kick out of it, and I think everyone else is gonna get a kick out of it. And so I think this is like a really good introduction to, because like this is okay, like when I say like this is an alien, like what's going on is this guy, and he's gonna explain it more, this guy he's channeling an alien. He is in community, and I don't know exactly how any of this works. Jennifer probably knows more about it than I do, but this is like an alien form of energy that is delivering wisdom through this guy. So it's not coming from him, it's coming from an extraterrestrial who is here to help us and is here to offer guidance and wisdom.
So you step aside, you let the entity come through and speak. And that's how the gal does the Pleiadians. That's how she does it. And I love what she talks about. And they have a great sense of humor too, by the way. So I'm interested to see him.
You know, and what I love about like, and this is true of like all the different trans channelers that I've ever watched, because I've watched a whole bunch of them. I don't know, like I used to be really into like, have you ever heard of Theo?
That sounds awfully familiar. It might have been something that scratched my interest a while ago, but it's been a long time.
It's I forget her name, but I used to listen to her a lot, and and she was involved with like Abraham Hicks and things like that. So
Oh
that's
yeah.
probably where it's
Oh
coming from.
yeah.
But like all of these kind of like entities that people channel, like I know a lot of people think this is fake, but like they all have like a peace about them, and they all have a lightness about them, and they all have a wicked sense of humor.
They do.
Just like crazy sense of humor. And it's kind of like
Yeah.
when I see just person after person after person channeling different entities that are like, aliens or like, angels or all these things, and they all just kind of have, it's like an innate thing. You cannot fake that. You can't fake that lightness, right? I don't think.
I think if you do, it comes off super woo-woo, light-headed, ditzy, stupid person, That's why, like, you can tell who the real people are because they actually do have an amount of groundedness to them, and the sense of humor is genuine. They're not trying to force it. The laughter is real and from the belly,
Yeah. So I've got this one, which is about astrology. This is called Bashar Reveals the Big Bang, the Origin of the Universe, which I just was kind of interested in from just like this sounds like an interesting topic. Like,
Okay.
how did the universe actually start, alien? Okay, that's good. This is for bot. Are ghosts harmful?
Yes. Does he say who the alien and like where the alien is from? Like what region or?
So maybe he will in that first video that we watched. I don't recall. I haven't watched him in so long that I don't recall off the top of my head.
Okay.
But maybe he will. This is that's ghosts. How to manifest your dreams in 2024. I thought that's just like a nice manifestation video for people.
I can use that.
Channeling, curing your self-esteem issues. I think we can all use that from time to time. And then what else do I have? Oh, apparently he gets pissed off at an audience member, and I just thought that one would probably be funny.
Angry alien. Yes. Do it.
And then the last one I have, and I don't know that we'll get through all this stuff, but like this is like a 50-minute video from a couple weeks ago, and this is Bashar basically talking about everything we need to know in order to survive whatever is going on in the world right now. And it's just a little bit of a longer form interview because a lot of this stuff was like short clips. So I thought maybe actually seeing a full kind of conversation would be
getting
a
more
good
context.
Intro for Bashar. How does that sound to you, Jennifer?
I'm down. Let's do this thing.
All right, let's get into it. All right, let's watch here. Let me set up the sound. And for those who have never joined us for DISENRAGE before, welcome. This is not about politics at all. This is about spirituality and woo and tarot cards and crystals and aliens and channeling. And if you don't like it, that's okay. But don't.
We mean no harm.
Everything is harm.
Place of love.
No one has to be here. No one is forced to doing like things that will harm their immortal soul. Everyone relax.
Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick. Like we're allowed to have spiritual beliefs too, Christians. All right.
And some of them are spookily like parallel. Even remember I had my friend last week. He was like, a lot of what you believe is a lot of what I believe. And I'm like, that's amazing, isn't it?
Isn't it so? Like every time I say that to a Christian, they start to get like really like, no, don't say that. I'm like, okay. And then like slowly but surely they learn. And they're like, oh, wow, we believe a lot. I'm like, aha, like, isn't that funny?
Like, I can't have a moral compass without the Bible. It's amazing.
Yeah. All right, so let's learn about the science of channeling Bashar.
It's a vibrational resonance that is a particular frequency that I recognize as not my own, or at least a much bigger part of me. And I sort of liken it to the idea of two tuning forks. When you start one vibrating, if they're keyed to each other, then the other one starts vibrating in harmony. And as soon as they start matching frequency and vibrating together, that's kind of what it's like. So the channeling class, as I understood it, ultimately was training you to shift your brainwave frequency to a point where you go into a state called gamma, which is about 40 to 45 or 40 to 100 cycles per second, but I stay in the range of about 40 to 45 when I'm channeling. And then Bashar makes an adjustment in his brainwave frequency, and somewhere in the middle we lock. And as we vibrate together, what you get is a translation of his thoughts into the language that I'm programmed with. So the idea of channeling is not possession or anything like that. It is a synchronization of frequencies that allow you to have the same thoughts at the same time as whoever you are vibrating on the same wavelength with.
First and foremost, you are always manifesting something. If you were not, you wouldn't have an experiential physical reality, correct? Correct. So the idea is, you do not have to learn how to manifest. This is automatic.
It's Bashar's perspective that if we understand the nature of reality, the nature of existence, we'll understand our nature better, our relationship to existence, why we're here, why we experience reality the way we do. He is letting us know that there is a way to take all of the different things that people have been talking about on Earth for thousands of years that might be considered philosophies or more recently New Age concepts, and no pun intended, bring them down to Earth. In the sense that we are often left with New Age concepts that sound wonderful, but what do they mean?
What you are simply learning is how to manifest more consciously, to be more aware of how you manifest so that you can manifest what you prefer, instead of manifesting your unconscious beliefs.
For example, one of the concepts you hear constantly in, New Age thought or whatever you want to call it, is follow your bliss, act on your passion, live your dreams. Now that is a wonderful sentiment and it sounds great, but where's the practical side of understanding that concept? How do you do that? How do you go about really living your bliss and knowing that you'll be okay, knowing you'll be supported? He takes that concept, follow your passion, and he starts breaking it down. Well, what is that? What is that state of being? What is that feeling? You can think about things all day long. You can talk about them all day long. But if you're not willing to actually act on something that is supposed to be representative of who you are, what your truth really is, who the person is that you truly were created to be, if you don't act on that, you're not speaking the language of physical reality.
I already appreciate a couple things that were said in that video. Like, I liked how he talked about how, like, you're manifesting all the time, whether or not you're conscious of it or not. I don't think people, like, realize, like, we are always creating our reality, right? And then I liked that he was talking about, like, you actually have to do stuff to you can't just, like, do affirmations all day. You actually have to do things in the real world to manifest what you want, right?
There's a movie that I have planned for movie night in November called What About Bob? And he's always saying, I feel good, I feel great, I feel wonderful, I feel good, I feel great, I feel wonderful. Meanwhile, he's got every phobia. Like, so affirmations, you can say them all day long, but no, they aren't a thing. I wanted to answer Bot real quick. No, tuning forks were an example. If you get tuning forks, you will not be able to tune your brain literally to someone else's brain. But that resonated with me too. The same point about manifesting all the time. And one thing that I think is important is positive manifestation thoughts have, like, way more power than negative manifestation thoughts, because our brain does play. So we don't have to worry about, I thought this horrible thing, so therefore it's going to happen. No, we're not just think it and then it just happens. It doesn't work like that. It's consistency. It's also your inner vibe. Now, if you are consistently thinking about horrible things, your life's probably going to go take a downturn. Yes. But that's why it's important to, like, look after your brain health and your heart health and your spirit health, to make sure that even though if you're sad or you're having something really hard happen, or you are having negative thoughts, which is perfectly natural, but then you can kind of come back up and remember there are good things in the world. Don't get stuck down there, or that shit will happen to you. So you want to keep that higher vibration, that positive feeling, or at least get back to it when you have a dip.
Cool. Let's learn about astrology.
Oh, boy.
I think you're going to like this video.
Hello, Bashar.
And are you good day?
I'm a bit nervous.
Nervous. How exciting.
Yes. I'm not very fond of large groups.
Where is there a large group?
Right here.
Oh, are you standing in the middle of China?
No, not really.
Compared to the idea of certain areas on your planet, this is a relatively small group, is it not?
Yes.
Feel better?
Perspective.
Do remember that in reality, you're actually not standing in front of anyone but reflections of yourself. Remember, even though there are other beings, the only way you can perceive them is to create your version of them in your reality.
All right, he's going to go on about that, but can we just stop and talk about this for a second? Because this is like an epic mind fuck for me. Like,
Okay.
this idea that every single person in our life is a reflection of us.
Okay, so I can get behind that philosophically.
Mm-hmm.
In that we reflect ourselves, in that when we see someone else, we might imagine what they're thinking about us. We're putting upon them our own insecurities, and therefore they are a reflection of us. Literally, and it doesn't work for me.
Like, so reflecting different aspects of us, though.
Yeah,
Which I
that
think
I
makes
can get
sense.
behind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's what he's saying. It's like, because I mean, think about it. Like, when you're in, like, there are so many people that we're around that we just ignore. We don't even see them. That's not to say that they're not there. Of course they're there, but like, you don't even see them. You don't even acknowledge them for some reason. But then there are other people that kind of like stick out to us for whatever reason. And usually it's because we are having a feeling about them one way or the other, or there's some sort of like interaction or whatever. And so that to me makes more sense, that the people that we end up being around reflect different aspects of us, you know?
Yeah. Well, and sometimes our friends we're friends with them for different reasons. Like, we relate in this level, then I relate to that person on that level. And there's different reasons why we have those relationships. But even just walking into a room of strangers, as is in here, that person already said, I'm not comfortable in groups. And some of that, I'm assuming, is some paranoia where he's thinking that all these people are judging him, or all these people are looking at him. And of course, that is some kind of insecurity. And so what he's kind of saying is, they're just parts of you.
Yeah.
And bringing it back down to here, going, how do you feel? Basically, I would continue that by saying, how do you feel about yourself? And if you say, well, I don't like myself very much, well, then of course they're not going to like you, because that's what you're seeing is a reflection of how you don't like yourself. If I was getting philosophical.
Well explained.
So everything you're seeing is actually your creation. So it's your group. What are you afraid of?
Thank you.
It's like being in a hall of mirrors. Are you afraid of your reflections in the hall of mirrors? Oh no, I'm surrounded. Oh yes, it's all just me.
Well, I mean, to the point that you just made, Jennifer, if you don't like yourself all that much, yeah, you are going to be afraid of your reflection in the hall of mirrors.
Yeah.
Not going to like that at all.
I used to be afraid of the dark, and I realized that it was just my own shadows. And I went, I created everything here. I am the mother of these shadows. All these shadows are mine. And I stopped being afraid of the dark, because I realized it's just me that I'm afraid of, or I was upset about, or whatever it was.
It's a mind fuck. It really
totally is. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's all just you. In different ways, in different perspectives, that's all. So really, you're talking to yourself right now in an empty room. Does that help?
Yes.
Thank you.
So
what would you like to talk to yourself about?
So I was wondering.
Yes.
About.
He said to himself.
About planets.
About the planets. Which planets would you be wondering about?
As I understand it, everyone is born with a set of planets. I was wondering if...
Born with a set of planets. What you mean, in a box somewhere in a closet?
I'm talking like in astrology. Like.
Ah. Well, again, the idea is to remember that when you crystallize yourself, your consciousness, into physical reality, you are certainly taking on the qualities of the particular moment of crystallized physical reality that is representative of what is going on at that moment of birth. You are solidifying and crystallizing certain kinds of ideas that are representative of your theme of exploration and your relationship in the collective agreement. So the planets, in a sense that you are talking about astrologically, are a reflection, and for those that are intuitive enough to use that particular permission slip in a certain way,
they could see that how the reflections might be representative of certain energies and themes that you've decided to explore and how they might be unfolding. But remember, it's just a permission slip. It's just a reflection.
So I liked how he explained astrology there. What did you think of that?
I almost feel a little more confused because if it's a reflection of each individual, because astrology is kind of a basic group set of traits, right?
Yeah.
And tendencies. And people align with different things in different ways according to how they're born, and then that kind of helps influence their journey. So I'm not sure if, I mean, I guess when he says reflection, I might say resonate. It resonates.
What do you mean
with
by
me.
that?
So if someone, so like say someone gives me my birth charts, he's talking about astrology, so we'll go with that. I might look at it and go, well, so you have a lot of water in your chart. And I'm like, well, I am very emotional. So I'm like, I can reflect that way. Or they, well, that also means this, that, the other thing. And I'm like, well, that doesn't resonate with me. I don't know if I agree with that. It doesn't matter if you agree or don't. It's still in your chart. It may still be influencing you. It's what you need to key into at the time to learn from. Because I've seen my chart when I was in my early 20s and my 30s. And then like recently I've seen it. And the older and more mature I've gotten, the more the chart had meaning. So maybe he's talking. So for me, it resonated more because now I'm not being a dumb 23-year-old. I'm actually, you know, more mature. At the time I was like 46, 47. And it was like, oh, okay. Now I can appreciate this a little bit more because I had better perspective. So for me, it resonated. But the reflection thing on it, I think that got a little abstract for me.
I don't know that, like, so I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, it's like you're applying a human understanding to it, right? And that human understanding is going to change depending on whether or not you're young and stupid, or you're a little bit older and have wisdom, and you can kind of see more of like, I don't know, I guess I'm just trying to work out kind of like what you thought in reference to this, because like,
I don't think that the planets reflect us.
Well, I think what he's saying though is that it's like a sign of the experience we've chosen to have.
Okay.
It's like a guide.
Okay.
That's kind of how I understood it.
I can get that. That works for me. I think his language is something I have to get used to. I think if I was looking at tarot cards, I can see that as a reflection of me, because I do view tarot cards, especially as an intuitive reader. I'm not a technical reader. I'm an intuitive reader. That's more like a Rorschach test, which is more of a reflection, a personal reflection. So if someone says, well, the Six of Cups means this technically. And I go, well, yeah, but what does it, put that aside, and what does it mean for you? What does it look like to you? And so in that way, I understand.
Fair enough. All right, let's move on to the next one. What do we have here? Oh, the Big Bang and the origin of the universe. I'm actually curious about this one.
It's Osiris's Big O.
Apparently, we get to watch a doodle as well.
Ooh,
so that's
this will be fun. Yay.
Yeah.
Your scientists, many of them, now understand that the so-called Big Bang is not necessarily the beginning of everything. It's just the beginning of your particular universe, yes?
Right.
But infinity is infinity. And there are many Big Bangs, as you say, many cycles that occur within infinity. Many universes, what your scientists have come to understand as the multiverse. So really, there are many Big Bangs. But in terms of your particular universe and its so-called beginning, the idea is, again, as an analogy, as an illustration, imagine, if you will, that there is only one particle and nothing else. All right? If you wish to represent this as simply a tiny subatomic particle floating in a big, empty, infinite black void, that's all right. It will do for the purposes of the illustration, even if that's not necessarily literally true.
Right.
So, now imagine that because there is only this one subatomic particle, it has absolutely nothing else to relate to, yes?
Right.
So there really is no gravity, there really is no sense of mass, there's really no sense of space or time. It just exists as a point of pure existence.
Right.
Thus then, it is capable of doing anything and everything imaginable. In other words, it can travel at infinite speed. Nothing holds it back. There are no laws of physics yet. You follow me?
Yes.
Thus, if you understand that that single particle can travel throughout that void, that big infinite void at infinite speed, then that means that particle can actually appear to be everywhere at once. Yes?
Right.
Thus, it can actually appear to be an infinite number of particles, even though it's actually only one particle.
That makes sense.
That's the Big Bang. Now, the pattern in which it did that...
Wait, what? Did you follow?
Okay, I did, and I feel like it's one of those thought patterns that it exists because I say it exists.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly, there's no proof either way, and a lot of this shit you can't prove anyhow. But I can see how it's like if the particle is sentient when she has not addressed yet, that particle could perceive itself as all things.
Yes.
And if it's true that it is the only particle floating around in a dark void, literally it is all things. It is the only thing.
Right.
That doesn't mean that that's the Big Bang, though. I think he's kind of conflating experience with physics.
Well, I don't think this is. Well, I mean, maybe there's more to it, but like, I do understand the whole like, and this is just an example. He's not saying that this is actually what happened, but like, if you have one particle and then just like a void around it, there's no opposing force on that particle. There's no contrast to it. It just is.
Right.
So, where he lost me is like that one particle, is all of a sudden I don't understand that. Maybe I want to listen to that part again.
Okay.
And
I do like the font.
Yeah, I like that it's got a little doodle.
It's a really nice
See,
font.
that could be what your Palladian lady could do. She could do these doodles and stuff. She doesn't.
Oh God, that'd be great. Yeah.
Void at infinite speed, then that means that particle can actually appear to be everywhere at once. Yes?
Okay, stop there.
Thus, it can actually appear to be
that one. So what he's saying is, if you understand that a single particle can travel throughout the void, infinite speed, so the particle can be anywhere at once.
So it's like this. It's like this. It's like how you can see obviously my finger's not everywhere at once, but it looks like it's everywhere at once.
It looks like yeah.
Okay.
Trails. So but here's the thing that I feel he's missing is that that's an observable phenomenon. From the particle's point of view, it's still itself.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that works from the particle's point of view.
Why wouldn't it though? Wouldn't the particle see itself as everything?
There's nothing
else there.
I suppose. Well, that's kind of what we were saying before. Is it's the only thing there. It is everything.
Mm-hmm.
So why would it need to do any of this? Like, there's no reason behind this. Why? Okay, let's see what how he's going to wrap this thing. Sounds like we're going to come to a point.
All right, we do have 6 more minutes in the video, so maybe they go somewhere.
All right.
It can actually appear to be everywhere at once. Yes.
See, appear that.
Thus, it
that's
can actually appear
third-person
to be
perspective.
an infinite number of particles, even though it's actually only one particle.
That makes sense.
That's the Big Bang. Now, the pattern
okay, I get it.
Did that?
Okay, go ahead.
He's saying the Big Bang is a particle being everywhere at once at the same time.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yep. I'm following. I'm tracking.
Okay.
All right. Let's keep going. We got 5 more minutes of this video. I'm not saying we can't stop. I'm just saying there's more explanation coming.
Yep.
Now, the pattern in which it did that, again, as an analogy, similar to the pattern of lines you see on the holotope across the room. The idea is that it will create that infinite speed pathway in a kind of what you would call a geometrically radiating form. Where it doesn't cross its path, it will be simply what you call, well, almost emptiness. Where it starts to cross its own path, it builds up, in a sense, more and more densification and becomes something more akin to what you recognize as energy and then matter. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So, in a sense,
when it starts to become more dense, the more it.
So it's not intersecting itself, but it's like making room for where it was because it's all happening at the same time.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, my head. Okay.
Places where it crosses itself the most creates what you understand as the experience you call dense matter. and what you think your universe is made of. But what your
I get
scientists
what
are
he's
now
saying.
beginning to explore is the idea that the majority of your universe is made up of dark matter, dark energy that is highly invisible to you.
That's right.
Well, the dark matter and dark energy is where the single particle crosses its own path less. It isn't as dense, but it forms the majority of the material that makes up your physical universe.
You tracking?
Yeah, but this just reminds me of like the conversations I used to have back when I was a super stoner, and like my
right.
like my friends and I would sit around and be like, "We're made of nothing because what's between our atoms is a vacuum, and a vacuum is nothing. So literally, we're like made out of nothing, man." Like,
fair enough.
Because it only crosses itself a very few times in a very dense way to create that small amount of matter, relatively speaking, that creates all the matter you can perceive in your physical reality.
So for those in the back,
Yes.
he's saying that one particle is moving fast enough to create all of us at the same time, and where it's not crossing is dark matter or the empty reaches of space, even though they're starting to disprove that. But they're saying that this particle is crossing me enough times and Carlin enough times to create us both at the same time. Yep. And do all the things that we do in our lives, including our husbands, our families, and even you lovely people out there. It's the same particle crossing us enough to be dense enough to create all of this.
Yes.
And we're all the same thing.
But in other parts of the universe, it's not crossing itself hardly at all. And that's why it appears that there's nothing there.
I'm lacking purpose here. I think this is way hooey, but I'm fascinated. But I still want to know what the purpose is, because everything has a reason, at least in my three-dimensional thinking.
Well, this is advanced woo, Jennifer. You're trying to be a Capricorn and ruin it.
I need a list.
And that's also what creates the idea you call gravity and all the forces. In that sense, it is actually interconnected, because in a sense, it's like a web. And it is that web, it is the pathway itself, the geometric path itself, in a sense, that creates that connectivity, the stretchability and malleability that you interpret as the idea of gravitational or electromagnetic or strong or weak nuclear forces.
Who triggered this movement for having an infinite space in an infinite?
There is no beginning.
Means what happened? Some people are saying that God triggered this.
Existence only has one quality: to exist. Remember, time is subject to existence.
That's another pothead moment.
Oh my God. Yes, it is. We have no purpose other than the purpose that we have.
Existence only has one quality, that is to exist. Thank you, Darryl.
You cannot define a thing by using the thing in its definition. Just saying.
Existence is not subject to time. Time is a creation within existence. Therefore, existence itself is timeless and has no beginning and no ending. It just is.
Just is.
It's just the now.
There is no time.
But again, to use an analogy that works.
Everything that has ever happened or will ever happen is happening right now.
I can't do it, man. I can't.
You know it's true, though, Jennifer. You know it's true.
I don't agree. I don't agree.
Why?
I can't do it. I need my three-dimensional reality. I like linear time. And one of the ways I heard it made sense actually was that we're outside of time when we're outside of the physical existence, and then we're inside of it when we're in the physical existence, like a microcosm and a macrocosm.
Okay, but would you agree? So like when I meditate, like one of the things I do is I see myself as no one, nowhere, no time, floating in space outside. And it's like, and you like, you can meditate for hours and have it go by in a second.
Sure.
Right. And so like,
that's a concept of time. That doesn't mean time isn't present though.
Well,
because you can sit there and be outside of time all you want, but 3 hours have still passed.
I mean, I guess, but only when I come back into my body.
Yeah, well, like I said, when you're not here experiencing this, it's more relative.
But like, if it's just in my head, then it's still here.
Yeah, it is.
It's just that when we come back to our human experience, we need to make sense of it.
Well, it has to make sense. Otherwise, what's the point of going through anything?
Experience.
No, the point is existence, according to him.
No, he said the point of existence was existence, and but the point of life is experience.
Well, no, he hasn't gotten to the point of life yet. That's what you're saying.
All right, let's just keep going with the video. This is gonna go on all fucking night.
I need to be really high.
I'm gonna make a T-shirt that says "Time isn't real" just for you, Jennifer.
Okay.
In your space-time framework, imagine this, that there is the one, that everything is, but in the state we call the one, there's no reflectivity, there's no self-awareness, it doesn't know itself. But because it does contain everything, it also contains the idea of that which it is, shall we say, not, so to speak. Thus, then that creates the first separation, the first difference, the first reflection.
Right.
And as that first reflection explodes, in a sense, from the one that doesn't know itself, it suddenly knows itself. The first reflection, and the one becomes aware that it is all that is. And that is also, on that level,
first divine.
What is behind.
What was that?
The first divine.
What does that mean?
The first divine was the first consciousness. We don't know where that happened. I don't think it happened in the Milky Way. I don't think there was anything but void when it happened. But at some point, something happened. And I mean, these are mysteries we probably will never understand, at least not here on this plane. But the first divine is the one that went, I'm here, like it realized itself. And it took who knows how many billions of years before it started going to the next thought. Like literally the creation of thought until it began to create, to, as he says, reflect light and darkness. Now we're talking the creation story and how the universe was created was from this first divine. And then maybe it began to hive off pieces of itself that gave other consciousnesses that also were divine. And those divines began to think and work and feel. And now it had something to do. So
because it had to make different aspects of itself in order to have contrast to understand itself.
Well, I don't think that it knew it needed anything. I think it just that happened, and it went, oh, this is what this is, and it began. You have to think of if you had, like, say, a fetus with no womb, no mother, no anything, and it had to figure out how to turn into a person. That's the first divine. If that makes any sense at all.
No, it does. And I was saying it more from like an out, like the reason that it did this is like the purpose. Well, the ultimate purpose is understanding itself, but it may not have known that. To your point.
I don't think there was a purpose. I think at the very beginning it was an experiment. What if I did this? And then it began to realize you could have like now I'm curious. I think the purpose was curiosity.
Fair point.
Behind that expansion, behind that explosion. But the one is not subject to it. The explosion only happens from the perspective of all that is, which recognizes itself as the one, which knows itself as the one, which has the reflection, which sees a difference. But the one sees no difference. The one is just the one and doesn't know itself. And so there is no big bang in the one. The one is just existence itself, pure and simple. And the big bang happened, in a sense, when the one suddenly became all that is, and knew itself as all that is, and had a reflection of itself as everything that could it possibly be.
Is anything...
Okay, hang on. I want to go back. Okay, so the Big Bang happened when the one true energy started to understand itself.
Yeah, I've heard it described as like a divine singularity where it finally, when it first decided to divide, is the first Big Bang.
Okay. I got it now. All right, that makes sense. All right, so it was just one before, and then it was like, what if I did this? And then
hey, and it just thought became matter and or other of itself, other selves, other pieces that then took on their own personalities and so on and so forth. But that could also have put into motion the cycle of creation.
Cool.
All that is, and had a reflection of itself as everything that could it possibly be.
Is anything triggered this, or it happened by itself?
The recognition is what triggered it.
The recognition.
But again, you're speaking from within a linear space-time framework. There is no time in the one and no triggering in the one.
Mm-hmm.
So remember, it's not this or that, it's this and that. Within the idea of things that get triggered and things that have beginnings and endings, overriding that and containing that is simply existence, the one to which those ideas simply don't apply. So triggering can occur within the one, but the one cannot be triggered because the one just is. Doesn't know anything else, is not subject to beginnings and endings. There's nothing outside of it. No beginning, no ending. Those concepts don't apply to existence. They don't apply to the one. They only exist within the one.
If this video resonated with
All
you,
right.
don't forget to like it.
That explained everything about the Big Bang, Jennifer.
Totally clear.
That was really that was like advanced level woo. I'm really impressed if people paid attention and understood that, actually.
That I don't think I could have gotten through that video without you pausing it and like us being able to kind of hash it out and like going back a little and rewatching, because it did take a minute. Like, wait, what? Okay. I see where you're going now.
But I feel like, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, I'm like I don't know if I see where he was going. I still can't do the whole everything is happening at once thing. I do believe in succession, but that's okay. I enjoy his interpretation of divinity expanding.
Once it got to the point where it was like explaining that that like, you know, there is the one true energy, and then it started to like know itself. That was when I started following. I was like, okay, I understand this. But until then, it was a little fuzzy. I was like, I'm not really sure what to make of any of this, but we got there.
That's how alien brains work, man. They're way on a different level.
True.
All right, well, you queue up the next one. I'm going to go use the little goddess room. I don't know how you sit for like hours and never...
I do pee sometimes, Jennifer.
You're just usually not here.
Maybe. I make sure... You know what I do? I go before we start the stream.
I did too. I'll be right back. I'm listening.
All right. So we are going to be doing now Are Ghosts Harmful? This is just for bot. And we are listening to a channeled alien talk about wisdom and things like that and that we need to know. And so let's find out if ghosts are harmful.
In the sense of a spirit that is capable of lowering its vibration enough to be perceived by the senses of the living, that you typically refer to as a ghost, a spirit, when it appears in your world, in your reality. The idea being that spirits who pass over, as you say, who die, who transition, may not always go all the way for a variety of reasons. Some may have unfinished business on earth. Some, because of their belief systems, may not have had a particular expectation or assumption of what they would experience in the so-called afterlife, and thus be a little bit confused about where they are. Some even may not even know they're dead and are wandering, looking for reasons why no one can hear them or see them. But now and then, either due to a lowering of their vibrational frequency, sort of similar to the idea of invisible ultraviolet light lowering its frequency to become visible as part of the visible spectrum of light, going down into violet and blue and so on and so forth. If they lower their frequency, they may become visible to those in the physical realm or those in the physical.
Okay, so a ghost is a spirit that didn't cross over, that is lowering its frequency, and so that it becomes visible to us.
Yeah, there are two ways to see them. One is, well, without the aid of technology. One is you've raised your vibration to see them. If you're in a higher vibration, a lot of people who see spirits are in a bit of a higher vibration, or they lower their vibration so that you can see them or observe them.
Jennifer, have you ever heard of a spirit helmet?
Maybe. What is it?
It's a helmet that you wear that apparently like allows your brain to like operate at like a different frequency, so you have an easier time hearing messages from spirit.
I want to say I've heard of that, but I don't think I totally have. I don't think so. That sounds like a terrible answer.
I saw it in a documentary. What was it? It's some documentary on Amazon about aliens and all this stuff, and and aliens existing in Kentucky, and then these ghost hunters went to try to find the aliens or something, and they had one of those spirit helmets, and I've always wanted to try one of those.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Maybe that's where it was. He had, and it blocked out all the senses.
Yes.
Okay, we may have it had like 3 parts or 4 parts. We may have seen the same one where they went into the cave at one point. They did like a ritual. Okay, we saw the same one. Yeah, and so what it was, so it was a sensory depth helmet that allows you to basically to ascend from your own 5 physical senses into the third eye and into the psychic realm, opening the pineal gland a little, and the spirits, he heard words. They would ask questions and he wouldn't hear the question, and then he would just parrot whatever he heard. And so that's that. I knew okay, all right, that's some crazy shit.
I feel like we should crowdfund and get us a spirit helmet.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna try that. I think it's like $600 or something the last time I looked at it. I'm sure it's much more expensive now, but I want a spirit helmet.
That's cool shit.
Realm may have enough sensitivity to perceive that spirit, even though it may not always be visible to everyone. But for some reason, they are still closely connected energetically to the physical realm of Earth, due to some of the reasons we have said or other reasons, and thus are still in their mind living among you, wandering among you, occupying the old houses, so on and so forth, what you typically refer to as a haunting, which doesn't in any way, shape, or form have to be malicious. Simply another person in another state, living in a place among the living. But the idea is that in seeing these beings, there is no way without communicating with them to know the reason why they may still be in what is referred to as the lower astral realm, very close to the vibration of physical reality, lowering their vibration enough to be perceived by physical beings.
Do you believe in astral projection? Can we astrally project?
Yes.
Have you done it?
I have, but not in an advanced way. Very, very like beginner level. I had a friend though who studied it extensively to the point where so he did a little, he was a bad boy, he did a little jail time. So he was doing astral projection while he was in his comfy bed that the government provides.
I would totally do that if I was in prison. I've actually thought about this. I'm like, I'm gonna be great at meditation if they ever put me in jail.
No. I'm so shooting out of here, dude. So he did some of that, and there was apparently a party that a friend of his had, and they all saw him. He went to the party. He interacted with them. He talked with everybody. They all remember him being there, and he was never there.
That's crazy. So other people could actually see him.
Yeah. They were like, "Hey, how's it going?" Blah blah blah. And when he got out of jail, and it was just a few months. It wasn't a big like years or anything like that. It was just a few months. And when he got out, they're like, "Hey, we haven't seen you since that party." He's like, "Yeah, that was really fun." They're like, "Where you been?" He's like, "Well, I've been in jail for the last 6 months or whatever." Like, that party was only a couple months ago. He's like, "I know."
That's crazy.
And I know I that sounds like a nuts thing to say, but one of the reasons we became friends is because he actually did so many spiritual techniques that he learned how to hide his favorite beers. Like actually it sounds like it's a party. It's a psychic party trick. But he had his beers in the fridge, and people say, "Hey, do you have any beer?" He goes, "Yeah, look in the fridge," and nobody could ever see them. And every time he'd come out with the beer, and they're like, "Where'd you get that?" He's like, "They're in the fridge." Nobody could see him. And when I said,
"Wow,"
I was in it. So I asked him, I'm like, I said, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Oh, I'm just putting a veil on him, and I'm just, He goes, "Look in there. I'll let you see him." And I opened it up, and there's all this beer in behind the milk and the orange juice, but they were obviously there. I'm like, "Dude, I've opened that fridge 3 fucking times. I never saw a beer. That's crazy." All of a sudden, it was like, "Oh,"
I want to learn how to do that. How do I learn how to do this type of magic, Jennifer?
He did a lot. It takes a lot of focus, practice, concentration, all the things. You have to get practice to get good at anything.
Man, I see. This is the problem. I don't have the patience to practice all this stuff.
I
have too much other
learned
stuff going on.
Oh, it's so fun. I actually did learn the shade spell, and I did do some shades. So, and it's the same thing. It's higher magic. It's all mental, and I would hide things from people occasionally, and they would say they couldn't see stuff, and then I'd just like say reveal, and they go, "Has that been there the whole time?" Yep.
You're gonna want to make me learn higher magic, and this is unfair.
It's just a party trick, but it was really fun.
It's not just a party trick, Jennifer. It's cool.
That's cool. I haven't done it in ages, but I was just trying to learn and stretch my little, what can I do,
God, the Gripers are going to be so upset at me if I start doing magic. Because, like, they're barely tolerating me right now. I'm like, no, tarot cards are not divination. You don't understand. It's not divination. But if I start doing magic, they're going to be like, this is not acceptable.
Well, it is divination. It is a form of divination.
I don't think tarot cards are divination.
Yeah, it's interpreting the messages from beyond.
But it's just reading the energy, though. It's just reading something that's already there. Tarot cards itself are just paper. They're just symbols.
The items themselves are just paper, yes. But there's more to it than just what's printed.
But it's
that's a whole nother subject.
But it's not doing anything with it. It's just reading what's there.
What you do is divining the message.
I disagree.
Okay.
We'll
keep the Gripers happy. And
it is just there. It is just is. You're not doing anything. It's there regardless of whether or not you use cards to read it.
But that's what divination is interpretation. That's all it means.
Well, the Gripers think I'm doing like spells, though. That's what they
Oh, no. No, that's
not a spell. It's not magic.
No. Well, what is magic? I mean, again, that's another topic. But I mean, how do you define that?
Well, isn't magic trying to more like influence? Like if you're putting a shield on a bunch of beers, like you're influencing energy in some way.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to influence it. I just want to know what it is.
That could be magic, but it also it could be misdirection is also considered magic.
What's that mean?
Misdirection as in what the guys that come to your party and they do the tricks and things and
oh, well, yeah.
That's magic. There's loose definitions and then there's like literal, but in the same way, it still is illusion or something that you didn't perceive originally to be true suddenly is true. That's magic and divination. In the facial, like right in the forefront. But if you want to get into the deeper shit, then that's influential.
All right.
We're both right. You're right.
We're both right. Exactly. Let's just stop there. We're both right.
And this is the older and original definition of an exorcist, sort of a spirit psychologist, to communicate, find out why that being is in that state, why they're still lingering around Earth, which doesn't always have to be for a negative reason. Sometimes when spirits cross over and they act, in a sense, as guardians, spirit guides for those who are still living, there may be reasons why they can learn to lower their vibration, to interact with the living in certain ways, even to the degree of appearing solid as a living physical being. This takes some skill and some practice on the part of spirits to do this, because once you are in spirit and in that high frequency vibration that is generally invisible to the living, it is actually not as natural for a spirit to go back down into the lower vibrations and become perceivable.
Okay, hang on. Go ahead.
I love how he's talking about this because the easy way to explain this to a muggle is in the movie Ghost when he meets he meets the guy on the subway and he was like hitting the cigarette machines and stuff, and the cigarette pro was like, man, what I wouldn't do for a drag. He's like, show me how you did that. And for him, he had to show him how to focus because he was just slipping through everything. And he had to show him how to focus his being energy into a point to influence the physical world. And this is kind of what he's talking about. It takes time for spirits to learn how to communicate. And I think spiritual communication and spirits, of course, are as varied as we are humans because they were humans, but incarnate. But yeah, so some of them, they might have a little more natural ability in it. Some have no clue. And I think some of them get really frustrated, and that's why maybe you have some poltergeist activities, because they get pissed off. They're trying to do a thing and they can't. Then they figure out that I could just and they rage, and that's all this focused energy, and all of a sudden the windows are shaking, and you're like, fuck, But yeah, so that's one variable. Anyway, I love that
makes sense. Actually, I'd never thought about that with a poltergeist.
Yeah,
they're just pissed off and frustrated. Like
they're just
me.
mad. I think there's multiple. Yeah, there's multiple kinds, but I mean, the one form of, I think, poltergeist, one type is the frustrated one that's trying to figure out how to communicate.
The living, but there are those who may have reason to do so, to appear to the living in certain ways, to deliver messages, or perhaps as a protector, to alert living people to certain ideas, certain situations and circumstances, be it dangerous or not. So those spirits may have a high degree of need to lower their vibration to interact with the living and be perceived as living people until such time as they raise their vibration again and vanish before your eyes. And so there may be great need to do this, or they may simply have chosen to practice the ability of raising and lowering their vibration in order to interact with the living for a variety of their own reasons or agreements they may have made with the living people with whom they interact. Now, beyond the idea of it actually being a spirit, a ghost per se, that you're interacting with, that is live in real time, as you say, there may be other effects that exist that can be interpreted as seeing a ghost. And one of them is the idea that in the fabric of space-time, everything is recorded. You might say, again, as people on your planet often name it, the Akashic records.
There is no time.
Have a kind of video.
No, that's a residual haunting.
Well, but that's a reflection of the fact that there is no time. Everything that has ever happened or will ever happen is happening right now. Mm-hmm.
No.
Yes.
So residual hauntings are when the energy of an event is recorded and plays on a loop, and it's not actual ghosts, though.
Exactly.
But it's just because
the streams are crossing, you're being able to see it.
In a way, but it doesn't mean that it's actually happening that minute. That moment, it would be like me throwing in an old VHS tape of a movie and saying they're filming it as we watch it.
No, because you're still looking at it as a human construct, Jennifer. Time is
I need my three-dimensional reality, Carla.
I know, but it doesn't exist, Jennifer. You're making it up. You are literally making it up.
Nope, you're making it up. Don't let me get my panic Pete, because it's coming. I knew you were going to trigger me tonight.
Time isn't real, Jennifer. It's not real.
Yes, it is. I think it is a dimension.
Exactly. It's it's like a layer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which makes it real.
No.
Yes.
It's a construct.
That was a layer, not real.
It is a construct that we've created in order to make sense of our reality.
Then why are we doing any of this shit at all? Just beat me up.
For experience.
Oh no. See, that's a loop. Now you're looping.
Nope, I'm not looping. It's the truth. All right, I'm playing the video now.
To record things as well as audio or pure information. And all that information is available here and now because everything exists here and now. So again, for those that might be sensitive enough, might extend their senses far enough vibrationally to pick up on certain things that may have happened, linearly speaking, in the past, and perceive the recording. It's etched itself into the fabric of space and time.
Whatever.
They may be seeing a recording of sorts, an echo of sorts of things that have been, or even will be, in your linear framework, and perceive that as a living ghost, even though it is simply an echo.
He just said in your linear framework, because he's like, time doesn't real, but I'm going to acknowledge that you think it is.
So I can, here's I think this is something I said before, I'll say it again. In corporeal form, we, and I agree, need time to make sense of linear events, of our past and future, of our karmic balance, past lives, future selves, all the things. I don't think all of physical stuff is happening at once. In the spirit realm, I believe that the perception of time is a way different and may challenge the existence of time through that, because a spirit is not tied or tethered to an earthly body or an earthly cycle. It is free to be as it is, and it just watches things changing. Things do change, things do move. It's not all happening at once. But I do think the perception is either non-existent or varied. Very varied. Very varied? Can I say very varied? Yeah. So I think it is different. And I do understand that. And it is, you know what, there was an interesting, okay, we're going to go there. There was a Star Trek episode.
I was like sitting here in my head, I'm just letting Jennifer work out her Capricorn feelings. It's fine. Let her work them out.
There was a Star Trek episode that was one of my favorites. A little moment in there, and I don't remember what the episode name was. I never was one of those. I'm a huge geek, but I don't remember the episode names. But there was a moment where I think it was Data, and I want to say LaForge, and Data was doing an experiment where he says a watched pot never boils. And so he's like got his little pot of water, and he's been boiling it over and over and timing how long it takes to boil. And LaForge comes in and he's like, you know, what are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And he says, well, I have been watching this. He's a watch pot has never boiled. I have boiled this pot however many times, and I have timed it, both watching it and not watching it. And it is always the exact same point, blah, 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 minutes, X seconds. And LaForge says, well, maybe turn off your internal chronometer. And he's like, oh, okay. And so he does that. And then they proceed to have a conversation. And all of a sudden, the whistle blows, signaling that the pot or the tea kettle or whatever was boiling. And he's like, "Oh!" It surprised him. He didn't realize it had. So yeah, it is a perception. I agree. Mm-hmm. What exactly it is just it is a dimension by which we measure change. That is my definition of time. Yes. Now, whether you measure it in a microcosm like we do here incarnate, or in a macrocosm when you're in spirit, can alter that perception of change. And that, my friend, is my final fucking word on time.
All right. I'm not saying anything else, Jennifer.
I did good.
I think we ended in a good place for both of us.
Recording, something etched into the fabric of space-time, and is no longer actually present. These kinds of perceptions will usually appear to be repeatable. In other words, a person may say, oh yes, this place is haunted, and at midnight, every 3 days, you see this woman walking down the hallway into this room, and so on and so forth. And if that keeps repeating, it might not be what would be termed a living presence. It might actually be a recording, repeating over and over again when the conditions are right to trigger it, or when the conditions are right in a person's senses to perceive it. So a lot of things that repeat themselves that way may actually not be a living presence. It might be, but it may not be, because it could simply be etched into the fabric of space-time and repeating on a loop. Another way that people might perceive the idea of a ghost that is not a ghost in the classic sense is the idea of peering into parallel realities. Mm-hmm. Sometimes the so-called barriers between one reality and another will overlap, will weaken, will align vibrationally in some way, shape, or form to allow a person from your reality to actually perceive.
And why do parallel realities exist, Jennifer?
I am not answering that question.
Because time is not real. Everything that
time
has
is real. How can you say time isn't real? It is real. It doesn't mean it's the definition we think it is.
Everything that has ever happened or will ever happen is happening right now. That's how we can peer into parallel realities. Everything that has ever happened or will ever happen is happening right now. Yes.
Now you're just trying to rile me. You're working it, aren't you? You're stepping on that hot red button, aren't you?
It's true.
I think that. Wait, hang on. Let me respond, woman.
Go ahead.
I think peering into parallel realities. Now, I am not completely 100% sold on parallel realities, although I've had a couple of very hoopy experiences that have caused me to ponder it. Mm-hmm. And every time I do, I can't come to a decent conclusion because I'm not sure what the fuck just happened. And why am I still in my reality? But when it's almost like another me came in and took over here, kind of a thing. I don't even know. I don't know what the fuck that is. I don't know if we want to say
we can jump realities. We can.
I've heard this again. This is a concept that my 3-dimensional being is resists. And I'm not saying it isn't true. I'm just saying I haven't quite made peace with the idea yet. And I do enjoy order and linearness, if that's a word. So I'm just going to be happy where I am in my understanding of things. But I also don't like the idea of everything being the same, because we are in an ordered universe. And if you take every decision that anybody ever could have made and create other whole entire worlds, planet Earths, if you will, that is so many that it is chaos. And so I disagree that it is in an ordered universe.
Haven't you ever seen that graphic where it starts off with like the smallest thing on Earth and it keeps zooming out and out and out and out and out until eventually like you see the universe and then you see the multiverse and all
then
this
looks
stuff?
Like the smallest thing again, because it's just a point of light at one point.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get it.
So it's still ordered.
That's symmetry.
Yeah.
I get it.
It's infinite.
Okay, maybe I have a hard time with infinity.
It's infinite.
I can understand infinity going forward. I have a hard time understanding it going backwards.
Out.
But then what happened before it?
It always was.
It
always was.
Yeah.
There is no beginning. There is no end. It just is.
And the omega. I know. I get it. Yeah. And again, my little brain skull is like super confined and happy, right?
I feel so proud right now. I feel like you have the upper hand when we're doing witchy things, and I have the upper hand when we're doing esoteric things.
Only if I admit that you're right, which I'm not.
I feel very proud. Joshua would actually be very proud of me. I feel like.
I just feel like we're having a really decent tete-a-tete.
I think this is good. I'm feeling good.
Okay.
Just because you can see like creatures and spirits and everything. And excise things. I know stuff too.
So if time is a construct, which I don't disagree, we do need it to be able to navigate our experience.
Yes.
And I'm good with that.
Because we are spiritual beings having a human experience, and in this human experience we need time to make sense of the thing.
Yeah, and I agree with that completely. There we have common ground.
All right.
Sometimes the so-called barriers between one reality and another will overlap, will weaken, will align vibrationally. And
actually, Reagan, this is a really good point. That's why if AI destroys us, it's all going to be fine. It's going to be fine.
We'll come up with something else.
It'll all be fine. It'll be fine. All right, I need to rewind this.
Another way that people might perceive the idea of a ghost that is not a ghost in the classic sense is the idea of peering into parallel realities. Sometimes the so-called barriers between one reality and another will overlap, will weaken, will align vibrationally in some way, shape, or form to allow a person from your reality to actually perceive, although perhaps faintly and dimly, people in other realities. And therefore, in suddenly seeing an apparition wandering through your reality, you might perceive it or think it to be a ghost of someone who has passed over.
You know, I had this experience when I was in London, and I firmly believe I've like lived a past life in London. And I had this experience where
I mean,
I was
a present life. There's no past.
That is actually true. But again, I'm using time in the human sense. But everything that has ever happened or will ever happen is happening right now. But actually emphasizes my point, because I was walking down like some street. I don't remember where I was, and it was for the briefest moment, but it was so vivid. Like I had this flashback in my head where like I could see. It was like it looked like old timey. Like that exact street, but it was like old time, and like in my mind's eye I could see it was like this quick flash of this like London, I don't know, 300 years ago or something, and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah I think that's to me that's just an actual soul memory. That you actually walked down the same street you did 300 years ago. I think that's cool as hell.
But in fact, you are actually seeing a faint representation of a person in another reality who is just going about their business, but may seem to you to be a ghost. And they may be able to perceive you that way at that moment as well, and go back to their friends and family with tales of having seen this ghost. And they're just
funny?
describing you, because again, the veils between the different realities may have weakened for some reason at that
I've heard
point.
this, yeah.
Because these fluctuations do often happen.
It's like it's like in the movie like The Others, which is old enough where I feel like I can say this, where
I
they're
love that
actually
movie.
ghosts, but they don't know it.
Yeah, it's so that is I love. Well, without spoilers, it's from the perception you don't expect. But
Yes.
I've heard that like there's an alternate society living in a different dimension here, and that sometimes it crosses over and you see them and it looks like a shadow person or a light being or a ghost or something. Now, whether or not I accept that to be true, I mean, here's the thing about this kind of hoopy conversation. You can literally make any explanation up for anything you want. What I try to find is consistency of ideas. And once I find a consistency, then I could go, well, maybe that's something that I can hang on to or look at it from a realistic perspective versus someone going, well, what if it was this or that? Or maybe it's just like the eternal space people. What if we're actually the center of someone else's planet? We're on a flat earth. You know, I mean, like that. Okay. Yeah. Now we're going. Now we're getting stoned.
I agree. But a lot of these channelers, they do have very consistent themes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Across
And
a
I
variety
still
of
want to know
things.
who he's channeling.
Yeah, he hasn't told us that.
No.
Maybe we should find a video on that.
Yeah.
There are doorways and portals that open to different dimensions on a regular basis, and some of them are random, and sometimes these openings and closings can allow one in your reality to peer into other realities temporarily until they close again. And sometimes these are interpreted as spirits and ghosts when they are not, in the classic sense, such a thing. But the idea of this season is to allow yourself to open up to the potential communication that can exist between you and spirits, spirit guides, family members who may have passed on, soul family groups who may never have even incarnated. It is the ability of your senses to stretch into that realm, especially if someone close to you has died and is encouraging you to stretch your senses to connect with them in the spirit realm. This is the perfect season and timing to allow yourself to practice this. And this will be the subject of our meditation today to give you an opportunity to do so. So, allow yourselves during your Halloween season, while having fun, playing scary, while having fun being spooked out, while having fun imagining all sorts of strange apparitions and so on and so forth, keep in a corner of your mind the realization that this, in the vibrational cycles of Earth, is also when the veils are thin between the physical and the non-physical. Because remember, the physical is just a projection of consciousness. You yourselves, in a sense, are projections of consciousness as physical beings. So you yourselves, in a sense, are all ghosts, because your natural state is as a spirit, and you are just pretending to be in a physical, solid reality. So you are all ghosts in physical reality, which itself is a ghostly apparition of a consciousness idea that you are exploring.
Do you know
So
what?
in remembering that,
What?
This reminds me of what Christians must think we sound like.
So true. So true. Say more about that.
I do well because like when we were doing our show last week, my best friend from high school gave me a surprise visit last week, guys. So he was sitting next to me while we were doing that one stream, and every now and then we're talking about the invention of Satan, right? So for him, he's very, 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 very Catholic. So he has this perception of the reality as it is defined in the doctrine and so forth. And sometimes when I would talk about the construct of Satan as an idea, I would hear a little bit of giggling happening. And all of a sudden I hear, like he's like, oh, aren't you cute? And that's like, I'm having a little bit of the same experience here where I'm like, oh, I'm a ghost, but I'm not, but I'm a physical incarnation. No, I'm not even physical. I'm an expression of consciousness. I am an expression of consciousness. We all are. I still believe that all things are true. I can be an expression of consciousness and I can be physical. Physicality is a creation. So in that way, yes, I agree. But I don't think I'll default to Descartes, who said, if we were all just brains in vats experiencing a reality that is given to us, I don't wish to be a brain in a vat. I think, therefore I am. And so because I have my perception, I am my own thing and I am real. So that is...
Well, you know what I like about like all these channels, well, not maybe all of them, but like a lot of them, is they have kind of like this childlike thing about them of like what you said, like when you were talking about like, how did everything start? Well, like there was this one energy, the one true energy, you call it, what do you call it? The first
divine.
Yeah, and it basically is like curious, like, oh, what if I do this? What if I do that? What if I do? And that's like something that kids do, right? When they're trying to figure out the world, it's like this very kind of like innocent thing of like, I can do this, I can do that, I can do that other thing. And I feel like that in and of itself is like a core part of like creation.
What if?
What if?
That's what gets kids in trouble all the time, because all of a sudden, before you know it, you walk into I did this. You walk into the bathroom and I covered myself in Vaseline and put powder all over my face because I was playing with my mother's toiletries. What if I did this? And my mother comes into the bath like, what have you done? And they get angry. But from like my perspective, I'm just like experimenting, like, why am I in trouble?
It can amplify your ability to remember that all of these spirits are right with you and you are right with them, still in spirit with them, while dreaming that you are not. Allow yourself the opportunity to feel that and maintain that connection and increase that connection between yourself and the spirit realm, becoming more lucid and conscious about the fact that physical reality is, in a sense, just an apparition that you're playing around in. And allow yourself this opportunity, because as we do approach the idea of the window of contact and the increase in the splitting prism into different parallel versions of Earth, maintaining and increasing your connection to the spirit realm that you occupy now, right now, as your natural state, will serve you in a variety of ways that we will go into the closer we approach to the beginning of the window of open contact.
Okay.
And serve you.
Well, that explains everything, Jennifer.
So, you know what? Because I am a nerd, this just reminded me of Jedis transferring into the Force when they die. Because the physical body, because I was thinking, well, then how come our physical bodies stay behind? Because there's a lot of monks who have meditated themselves literally to death, but they left their physical shell behind. But the Jedi masters who learned how to master this technique could vaporize and transform into the Force, really showing the transcendence between a physical perception and the spirit that they really were. And not all of them did that, but I mean, Yoda did it. Obi-Wan Kenobi did it. I guess Qui-Gon Jinn was the first one who figured it out. But I mean, that's kind of what it reminds me of, is literally taking it with you. You just vaporize into the Force.
That would seem to be much more much more like you're having to carry more dense energy with you that way, whereas you can just leave.
I can just leave and drop the shell. Yeah.
Yeah, that would seem to be easier.
Well, it's not easier for my family. If I could just transform away, it would be a lot cheaper.
Well,
they wouldn't have to pay for a funeral. I wouldn't have to worry about all that shit.
But they still get the closure of having like done the ritual ceremony of the funeral, which is kind of the point, right?
I mean, it is, but that's kind of what the wake is the body is gone. Now it's in the ground, and then they have the wake. And we would just skip the funeral and have the wake. Maybe.
You with the idea of making contact, because many extraterrestrial beings are extra-dimensional beings and actually have attributes, just as our civilization does, of both physicality and spirit. And thus, the stronger you connect to the fact that you are a spirit, as you say, not so much a human having a spiritual experience, but a spirit having a human experience. You can identify with us more strongly every day and allow the idea of open contact to be a broader experience with many different kinds of beings who are not just physical extraterrestrials in the way that you think of us, but occupy many different dimensional planes, just as you do,
like Bigfoot,
who are simply aware of the occupation of those
I have
planes,
news about that.
just as you can become. And therefore blending and melding and merging the idea of physical and spirit in a way that allow you a great deal of freedom, a great deal of expression, and a great deal of being your true self and expanding what that really means in your world.
All right. Jennifer, you have breaking Bigfoot news?
I might, but first I want to address a question. Yasmin asked, what is dark matter? I don't know. I don't know what it is. I think it's just another kind of energy. It's another kind of matter. We haven't been able to scientifically investigate it, but I wonder if maybe it isn't some of the gateway particles, but we'll see what happens with that. It's going to be interesting. I have a dear friend that about the Bigfoot stuff. We'll have to, I don't know when we'll be able to do this because she just had a family member die. So we're not sure when she's going to be available. Mm-hmm. Dear friend of mine of many, many moons, who is a big Bigfoot person, has spoken with them,
really? We're gonna be able to interview someone that talked to Bigfoot?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
And I told her, I said, Carlin would love you. And she also is working on a way to explain how to do meditations and things to do the woo. Because those questions like, how do you do that? How do you do that? And for me, it's like, just focus and practice. And I haven't like figured out how to explain it in a teaching way. Mm-hmm. So I feel like my answers are falling short. She's been doing that. She's been working on that. So
that's cool. Have you ever listened to Dr. Joe Dispenza, who is a little bit smarmy, but like he actually does explain things really well?
No, I haven't.
You should check him out. I mean, again, you have to, well, no, he's Italian, so you might actually really get him. He's an Aries Italian man, and he comes across as an Aries Italian man, but but the way he explains things, like it really, like, he has a very good way of doing it.
Nice. Yeah, I'll have to check that guy out. Very cool.
All right, Jennifer, guess what I found just for you?
Uh-oh.
You're going to love it. You're going to love it. Darryl Anka explains who is Bashar.
Yes. Perfect.
2 minutes long. Let's find out.
Yes.
You explain to people who is Bashar as far as the message that he's trying to get.
The primary message, no matter how many other things he may talk about or connect to it, the primary message is how we create our reality, how we experience physical reality, how we can change our physical reality experiences to be more in alignment with what we prefer, because he's literally teaching us the physics of how we already manifest things in physical reality. And he provides literally a toolkit or a formula to follow that's very basic and very simple, but very effective and makes profound changes in our lives. And one of the most gratifying things I get out of doing the channeling is having people constantly come back to me and said, I applied his formula, I applied his information.
All right, this is not explaining who is Bashar.
Maybe he'll get to it. Give it another minute.
All right, I have another video pulled up, so maybe we do have one
precisely
more minute,
as possible. And this profound synchronous change, happened in my life, and I've never been happier. And I get that enough times from people that I know the information works. I know that it can be pragmatically and practically applied in our physical lives. So no one has to believe that Bashar is real. It might be another aspect of my own consciousness or personality, but I have to let it present itself the way that it does. And I mean, I have my own validations, like having seen the UFO and things like that, that tell me that he could be his own entity. He could be a real being somewhere, and that we're making a connection, vibrationally on a different telepathic level. But really, the point I always make to people is it's not about whether you believe that Bashar is real. The information that he shares with us is valid and real. And you can actually test what he shares with us as formulas and messages and information in your life and actually get the result he's saying you will get.
That's a fair point.
I think he's kind of conveying that he doesn't exactly know who or what Bashar is.
Well, I think it was asked in a way that was not specific, though. Let's look at this video and see if this gives us any more information. Who is Bashar?
Okay.
Because he was asked specifically, like, what is the message Bashar is trying to engage? So I can understand why he answered it like he did.
It started with who is, then what
Have
is.
you ever wondered if there are beings beyond
that was, like,
our
the
known
title
universe?
of the video, though. So that might have just been clickbait bullshit on YouTube.
Yeah.
Who communicate with us? Welcome to the world of Bashar, channeled by Darryl Anka. Channeling as a concept is the communication of information from another dimension or consciousness. It's like tuning into a radio frequency that's beyond our typical range, an intimate cosmic connection. Now imagine tuning into an extraterrestrial being. That's the journey of Darryl Anka with Bashar.
You want to know, like, what type of alien he is, right?
I want to know where he's from.
Yeah.
Where's he from?
Bashar, as introduced by Darryl, is an extraterrestrial being from a civilization light years away. But how did this connection start? It all traces back to a UFO sighting. Yes, you heard that right. Darryl's life took an intriguing twist when he witnessed a UFO. This event sparked his interest and led him down the path of exploration and discovery. This was the beginning of a journey that would lead Darryl Anka to channel Bashar, sharing messages from another dimension. Darryl Anka, an ordinary man with an extraordinary experience, takes a leap into the unknown. Born in Ottawa, Canada, Darryl Anka was living a normal life as a film special effects designer until a series of close encounters with UFOs set him on a new path. This was the beginning of a transformative journey that would lead him to become one of the most renowned channels.
All right, it looks like we aren't actually going to be able to find out where, where is Bashar from?
So for me, and I'm not discrediting the messages or that Bashar is possibly real. Because I do believe in channeling, and I do believe that people can channel entities from other places. What I liked about the gal that, and I've got her books right here. I'll have to grab one and see if I can get her name. But she actually gives the name of the alien, and then she gives where they're from. They are from, the Pleiadians. It's the Pleiadians that she does. But a lot of people will say this is who it is. This is where they're from. And that gives it to me, a little more credence. I'm not saying he isn't, but it just makes me go, why isn't he saying?
I think the problem is that we're just not finding the videos where he says it. I don't think we should make the assumption that he's never said it. I think that we're watching a bunch of clips in which they may have edited it out just because they're just trying to get a clip. And we just haven't found the one where he explains it. Would be my guess.
That could be. Well, the gal that I keep saying the gal. I have to find her. But she always begins every channeling with, this is who this is. This is who's coming through. They're from here, blah, blah, blah. And then she does the channeling. And then they come through.
But we're literally not watching any of the channelings from the start.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
We're coming in.
We're coming in the middle.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So maybe not. I don't know. Let's move on. Let's
continue.
Let's continue. Let's actually get some. Let's watch Bashar yell at an audience member. Let's see.
I'm interested.
Yeah, we need some levity. What did this woman do? Always a woman, of course.
I'm sure this is clickbait. It has to, because it's angry in quotes in the description.
So I had spoken to you about a dream that I had.
Yes.
And where I was in a house.
Yeah.
And I walked by and I saw a reptilian or reptilian feet.
Ooh, a reptilian.
And a human woman was having sex with the reptilian.
Yeah.
I only saw the feet,
yes.
But I knew, and I just walked by.
Yes.
And I had this thought that I was supposed to do that too. And then I thought, oh, well, I guess I don't have to. But then I felt this need to kind of get out of the house. And so I got out of the house, and it was,
when you do, I'm explaining for the audience. When you go to woo-woo events, oftentimes you meet crazy people. That's not to say that everyone involved in this is crazy, but it certainly does attract crazy people.
Sometimes a dream is just a dream.
Sometimes you're not supposed to fuck a reptilian.
I mean, give it a shot.
Yes. And I'm wondering, and so I asked the question outside to the wind.
To the wind?
And
what the fuck?
It told me that that was me seeing me.
Yes.
So what is that a representation of?
It's a representation of the fact that all of you have counterparts in different civilizations, and those are usually the ones you interact with first when you're encountering other dimensional beings.
Right.
What the fuck?
So
okay, wait.
I was interacting with.
So she saw a woman fucking a reptilian.
And they said it was her.
And it was her, but it was a reflection of her counterpart in another dimension that was fucking the reptilian in another dimension.
So she was watching herself, literally watching herself. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
The counterpart of myself?
Yes. This could lead to some very crude humor.
Bring it.
You know how many books are already written about this?
All right. Well, then we'll leave it up to your imagination.
See, this could inspire a whole novel, Jennifer.
Okay, Bot just said, she's like, Jennifer, can you write a book about a reptilian? There are literally, and I'm not kidding, dozens upon dozens of books already written about reptilian lovers in on Amazon right now in the alien lover category stuff. Just saying, it's already out there. I don't know if I want to do it.
I mean, you already wrote about sex with an alien.
He was a nice, sweet little alien with big black eyes, though, and a really hot abdomen.
Oh, that makes all the difference, I suppose.
And he had luminescent, smooth skin. He was the softest thing you've ever felt. He was nice. He was not scaly.
I mean, they've been making like octopus porn for years in
hentai.
Anime. Yeah, I don't like to think about it, but it does exist, and I have seen it, and I don't want to know anymore.
Anytime I've ever seen it, it's always been accidental.
Yeah, well, I feel the same. It's like on Twitter when people are posting porn to say, "Look how disgusting this is," and I'm like, "Then why the fuck are you posting it on Twitter where I have to see it?"
Why? Yes. Oh, Lord have mercy. Well, the next anthology that my friends and I are planning is an alien thing, and we're all looking at reptilian species. So Bot may get her wish. We'll see.
Excellent.
Yes.
Why have reptilians gotten kind of a bad rap on the planet? Because
they are genetically linked to you by being hybridized from the original saurian DNA that existed on your world.
What?
And your reptilian brain as a mammal views them as a predator willing to eat you, even though they're not.
Right.
Or
therefore, you react in survival mode, fight or flight. And you project onto them the idea that they are evil, mean, and nasty beings who want nothing more than to take you over and control you and consume you, when in fact, it's a bad rap.
It's a total bad rap. I've never had that experience or feeling when I've interacted with reptilians.
Yes, but that's the mechanism
Okay.
is the reptilian brain.
Okay. So this is why I get a little testy sometimes with like super uber enlightened alien beings that get channeled. Not saying he's wrong, just saying that it then, and especially because I saw a video where he was talking about the oversoul, and I thought that was a really beautiful concept when it came to primitive animal types, because that's almost exactly the same thing I believe, just kind of maybe put in a different phrase, but it takes away the concept of like different races with different agendas, different ultimatums. It takes the politics out of it. Maybe that's what we need to end the cycle, is to take the politics out of it. However, we have to work through it in the experience to solve the problem, because it is created. And for him to say we just view them as predators because we're mammals, fuck you. You know how many mammals are like apex predators? Hang on. So I don't know. I don't want to be disrespectful, even though I kind of was just now. But I kind of feel like this is someone who has never lived here or experienced a human life. He is speaking from his point of view, from his planet, wherever that is, and giving us advice from his point of view. So it's like somebody from the South trying to tell somebody from New York City how to grow their own food on their land when they live in an apartment.
I want to ask him about the Jews. Why not? He would be able to tell us, Jennifer. He'd be able to say, like, is there really a worldwide Jewish conspiracy theory? Are they really trying to control all of us?
he's just going to tell you it's a construct and that it's just another version of yourself attacking yourself, and that
maybe, but that would still be information. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to figure out a way to talk
You're not going to suck me into that argument on this show, Carlin. You're not doing it.
I'm going to figure out a way to talk to Bashar, and I'm going to ask him about the Jews.
Okay, so we have to do that then. In fairness, if we ever get, I'm gonna look that. It's like it's 3 feet away. I just have to. I'm gonna grab that book. I'm gonna look up her thing.
We need an answer, Jennifer.
We're gonna ask. We're gonna get all of the channeler people. We're gonna ask them all the same question. You have to come up with your top 3 questions that you want to ask. But don't you just, like I said, do not get me in trouble.
We're gonna get all these channelers on the channel and be like, so is there really a massive Jewish worldwide conspiracy theory?
I'm more on Team Reptilian when it comes to that.
Is it the Jews or is it the reptilians? Or is it both? Are they
with the
are
reptilians.
they the same thing?
It's just, and I told you last time, it's about money. It's not about religion.
Right.
Mankind is making it about religion.
It's not about religion for them either. They're a race. They are a type of it's not a religion, Jennifer. It's a race of people.
Okay, fine, whatever. I don't agree with that. But I mean, I think
that's just true though. You can't. You are either ethnically Jewish or you are not ethnically Jewish.
Well, if you come from Judea, then you're ethnically Jewish. If you're following a religion, but you were born in America and you're Hawaiian and Jamaican, you're not ethnically Jewish.
Not just following a religion. It is a race of people.
Okay. I'm not going to get into that with you. I'm not here, not now, maybe another time. But circling back, I told you it doesn't have to do with race or religion. It has to do with money. And if they're going to contact rich Jews, they also contact rich Catholics. They contact everybody with money. It doesn't matter what you believe in or who you came out of.
They literally have books where they trace the entire genetic line back to the beginning.
You can do that with the bloodlines of the Illuminati as well.
Well, I'm not questioning that. I'm just saying that they do that because it is a race of people.
Okay. We're gonna
ask the fucking alien about this. That he's gonna tell us.
He's gonna tell you it's a construct.
I'm gonna end up getting kicked off YouTube because I'm gonna end up bringing all these channelers onto the channel and be like, "So is it the Jews?" And
my god, I can't even go, because what I don't like about that is it neglects the innocent bystanders. That are bystanders.
They can explain that. They can elaborate their advanced beings.
You gotta trust an alien being channeled by this guy?
Well, but isn't that the best plausible deniability in the world? Be like, what the? You guys really take this fucking seriously? Like, you're kicking me off YouTube because someone channeled an alien? Like, really? It was a joke.
If he said it, okay. If he said it had nothing to do with that, would you believe him or would you still question?
I mean, you want me to talk to multiple people. So if multiple channeled aliens said, no, it's not the Jews, then I might start to put credence on it.
I can say in my research, I can bring it down to 4 or 5 bloodlines. One of them is Jewish, but the other 4 are not. So it is not about the Jews.
Disagree.
Okay. You go right ahead. I've only researched this for 35 years. It's totally fine.
Bashar, are the Jews the reptilians? It could be both. It could be
they're
both,
not,
Jennifer.
Nick. Stop encouraging her, you bastard.
All right, back to the video.
I'm looking for that book. I'll be right back.
All right.
Okay.
Of your body.
Okay. So I was interacting with the
You were learning to love yourself from a different point of view.
Oh.
In order to put it sweetly.
She was fucking herself?
I love that.
Yeah.
Yes, you did. Quite often.
Jennifer, you've got to write that into a book. That shit was fucking hilarious. You have to write that into a book.
I was literally fucking myself while I was watching it. I found it. It's Barbara Marciniak. Barbara
Okay.
Marciniak. I don't know if you can see that, but
she's the Palladian channeler.
She's the Palladian. Yeah, the Palladian keys. I've read one. Is this the one I've read? No, this is the one I'm going to read next. I read. Maybe this is the one I read. I don't know. I've got 3 of her books. She's fabulous. If you guys ever want to see some really or hear some really cool Pleiadian, she even gets into politics too. The Pleiadians do. They get into the politics and talk about the Clintons and the Obamas. Huh?
Are they communists?
The Pleiadians?
Yes.
No.
Good.
No, they tell it they're like, you're in a free will universe. Everything your politicians are doing right now is against the natural order of the universe, which is why they will be stopped. We just don't know how or when, but here's what you can do.
Cool.
They're great. They're based. I love them.
I really did. I walked by going, they're okay. They're good. Okay, cool. So another dream.
Yes.
I was at a waterfall, and there was a little girl there, and she was looking into the hole beyond the water of the waterfall.
Yes.
And this beautiful yellow snake started coming out of the waterfall.
Yes.
And I felt like
there's some similarity here.
Okay.
You're getting, again, a screen projection of something that is symbolic and representative of that energy that you're interacting with.
Okay.
She's got a real hard on for reptiles.
But then there was a snake that started to wrap around my my arm, my right arm, and it started squeezing me really tight.
Yes.
And then this other woman came and I said, it's squeezing me too tight.
Yes.
Do you know what that was about? Because
Well, again, you're sort of testing your powers. You're testing your strength and seeing what it is you can handle and what it is you can't at the moment.
Okay. That makes sense.
You're putting a squeeze on yourself.
Oh.
Yes.
So putting pressure, a
A little bit of creative pressure. See how much you can take. See how far you're willing to go. See what it is you can learn.
Right.
See what you can absorb.
See,
right.
Yes?
Yes.
I would further that in if I was, she asked me about that dream as in my own woo way. I would also say snakes are a symbol of creation and rebirth. And what is it that is gripping you so hard that you have not done yet? Mm-hmm. That's something that you've thought about, that I could do this, and it's bothering you so much that it feels constrictive because you're not realizing it. You're not doing it.
See, I feel like it's a good thing that I don't remember my dreams, because I feel like this would be me all the time. Be like, what does that mean? What does that even mean?
Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar, Carlin.
Sometimes it's a phallus.
Sometimes it's a dick. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense. I tend to do that.
All right. You choose to do that. It's not a tendency.
Thank you.
It's a choice.
Thank you.
Will that do?
One more. So I have a question about wolves.
Wolves.
Yes. How do you perceive wolves, and are they connected with the dog star?
They are, but they are something different, obviously. They are the idea of family.
Yes.
The idea of group cooperation. There are many different kinds of things that are reflective and symbolic in your reality. And of course, it depends upon what cultural filter you are looking at them through.
Okay.
Because different cultures on your planet will have slightly different interpretations of this idea.
Right.
But they are a very powerful representation in that sense of strength, of family bonds, of cooperation.
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yes. And so do they definitely have ties with the dog star, Sirius?
They do. And they have representations in cultures on your planet that have to do with being the initiators and builders of cities and civilizations, yes?
Oh, that's what I was wondering.
Look at your Roman mythology. Romulus and Remus.
Oh, wow.
Nurtured by a she-wolf.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
So it's symbolic of the energy that they build family, bonds, cities, expansions, the pack in that sense.
Right.
You become part of the pack.
Right.
Does that help you?
It does, a lot.
All right. Then that is sufficient?
That is sufficient. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your dream about your encounter with your reptilian. Now, kindly go yourselves.
Days.
Did I
that
say
was
that
awesome.
out loud? Good.
Oh my God, yes.
I don't even know what to say. Like, I'm speechless.
Walk away, sister.
Fine
Walk
line.
away. You're outmatched.
That was awesome. That was a
That's
great
fucking
end to that.
hilarious. Yes.
Man. All right. Well, we've already been live for I can't believe we've been live for almost 2 hours, Jennifer. But
It flies by.
I think that so why don't we watch the other 2 shorter clips, because those are just like, and then we can maybe save the longer video for another night. But are you enjoying Bashar?
I think he's great. Yeah, I do. He's twisting my melon a little bit, but I'm okay with that, because as you practice what you preach, I don't have to agree, I don't have to understand it, but I can definitely appreciate it. I think this has been one of the deepest, hardest, thinky part, inspiring ones we've done.
Listen, man, the time thing will mess with your head like nothing else. You're like, how does this actually work?
Yeah.
But, all right, so let's watch this one about self-esteem, and then we can end on manifesting. I think that'll be nice.
Ooh, yeah.
Curing your self-esteem issues.
I need all the help with that.
Yeah, for real.
Need them to like you. Why is that so important that they like you? Are you basing your entire worth on whether or not they like you?
I wish I heard the question.
If they don't like you, you're going to feel less
I think that
than
was
them?
just the start of it.
Less deserving of something? Yes?
Yeah.
Why do you need them to like you? What will happen if they don't? Here's a good way to find out your definitions. There are 2 ways to approach this primarily. You can ask yourself when you're feeling something, what would I have to believe is true about myself in this situation in order to feel the way I do? That's one. The other way, what we're exploring right now, is what am I afraid will happen? What am I terrified will happen if I allow myself to be who I prefer to be? What's the worst possible thing I imagine might happen if I allow myself to be who I prefer to be? Can you answer the question that way? So you're saying they won't like me if I'm myself. Yes?
Yes.
Find better
So
friends.
what if they don't? Is that what determines whether you like yourself or not?
No.
Well, then why are you doing that? Why are you determining your worth and your likability and your lovability on whether someone else reflects the idea or shows you the idea
Okay,
of
pause that.
likability or lovability?
Go ahead.
One thing I love about channeled beings, and I say beings as in like aliens, entities, is they have such a perspective. They have a top-down perspective, looking at us going, you know, this doesn't matter. It's like us looking at children, and the child needs this toy so bad, but his brother has it and he's flipping out, and you're like, get another toy. And the kid is like, no, I want that toy. And that's exactly what wanting someone to like you is. I want that person to like. Well, why don't you go find someone else who likes you? But I want that person to like me. Like, okay, be yourself. Find people who resonate with that. I love that beautiful perspective. They have such a good. They're like great parents. I mean,
See, but this is like a lot of people can't do that though, and I didn't realize that, because like when I first got on the internet, I mean, you remember, like I was basically like, you know, if you don't like me, go away. I don't really care.
Pretty much from the
blocking
beginning,
yeah. I was like, but that was exactly my philosophy. I was like, well, if you don't like me, I don't really care. I'll just go find people who do like me. But that ticks people off, man. I never realized that was my mistake. That was a very naive mistake I made when I first was on the internet, because then all these people got pissed off at me that they were like, you don't like me, and I'm like, well, we don't have to be best friends. Go find your friends. But no, that wasn't what they wanted to do.
well, isn't that interesting that you perceive people who said they didn't like you as they're saying you don't like them, or that's what their perception was. So that's, again, the reflection he's talking about. I that's one thing I'm really going to take away from this is the reflection of, you know, because they do say the things that you hate about other people are the things you hate about yourself. And that's hard to swallow sometimes. You have to start, well, do I do that? You have to really, you know, introspect. Do I do that? Do I act that way? Well, maybe sometimes let's look at that. If it's bothering you enough, you need to examine it. But again, you also have learned how to, like, you came out hot. You came out like a total white hot fireball and just went, fuck you. This is how I'm doing my shit. And I think people got mad at you because you hadn't quote unquote earned it yet, because you were a newbie. But now you're not such a newbie anymore. People respect it when you say, look, I've done the time. Now it's like
Well,
that perception has changed.
I think that's part of it, but I also think that, I mean, I'm very quick to remove people.
I know.
And as you are aware, but it's also like, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like I've attracted enough people now. Like, I think part of the problem wasn't that I was a newbie. It was that the type of people I attracted were not, they, like, I mean, maybe they were reflective of where I was at that time, but they were not reflective of where I was, like, later on, like, at all,
Right.
in any way. So maybe I changed, I don't know. But then I had this whole mass of people who I was no longer aligned with at all. And it was like they were trying to drag me back with them.
Yeah.
You understand? It's like crabs in a bucket. Like, I was the crab,
Yeah.
and I was like, I escaped from the bucket and I was going away. And the other crab's like, no, get back. And I was like, fuck you.
I don't want to be in your bucket. Your bucket sucks.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I love how you forged your independence. I think you've done very well. And a lot of people, you've also like taken time, I've noticed, to be a little more explanatory and patient. And I think that's growth. And I think that's really cool. I think that's really cool.
Well, I think I had people who were more receptive to it. So, like, when people are actually showing up and they're trying to, like, learn, like, that's a different thing. Because, I mean, people don't know. Like, I did corporate training for years. It's not like I don't know how to do that stuff.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between working with people who are open and receptive to it and working with people who are just around to start shit and problems.
Well,
And I
also
think
remember...
that's also difficult for people to see sometimes from the perspective that they have of being in the audience, but it's very clear to me.
And in corporate training, though, you don't have people in the audience shouting shit back at you either.
Well, but you do have to take the time to explain things. And
Yeah.
believe me, like, they're just as annoying. They're just annoying in different, more passive-aggressive ways. You know?
Yes. Anyway, moving on.
Moving on.
Perspective.
Why does it matter what they think about you when they don't even know who you really are?
I guess it doesn't matter.
Well, it doesn't. So the question is, why are you making it matter? What do you get out of making it matter?
Nothing.
I do.
Then why do you do it?
I get joy knowing that.
What do you get out of making it matter, Jennifer?
When it matters to me what someone thinks about me, it's I need to learn something from it. It's giving me an opportunity to grow.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I get out of it. Now, some people go, oh, well, there's nothing. I don't know. I hate myself so much. And to the point where I would just concern myself with what other people think. Mm-hmm. What other people think is important to a point.
See, I disagree.
Well, I think it's important to a point because if we look at it, and I think if you give it that mirror quality, that self-reflection, and I can go, why does this matter? Do I need to pay attention to this? And if I can say no, then I don't care what the fuck they think. If it's like someone close to me, like my mother or like my husband, well, then I need to really examine that. I need to grow, or I am no longer compatible with person, friend. But I feel like we've all lost friendships along the way because we no longer are compatible. But it does give you a chance to go pause. Do I need to grow here? Am I that bitch? And see if you can improve yourself. And if you don't, and you don't have to do it to satisfy that person. You don't do it for them. You do it for yourself. And even if you don't end up friends afterwards, fine. But at least you took the moment to go, I do this occasionally. That's true. Maybe I need to examine that and see how I can maybe become more patient or more whatever.
I think it matters to the extent that, like, if you want to maintain the human relationship, then there are two people in a relationship, right?
Yeah.
And so the other person matters just as much as you do in the relationship. The relationship needs to be balanced, and so you need to balance. If you want to maintain that relationship, then there needs to be a balanced energy exchange in the relationship. But like generally speaking, I think that what people think of us, like if like, we're not talking about someone I'm married to. We're not talking about someone that I like want in my life, right? We're talking about someone who is just, a person, and maybe and we've encountered each other for whatever reason. I don't think that what they think of me matters. I think that what they think of me is none of my business. The only way it matters to me is if I am having feelings about what they think about me. Does that make sense?
Well, resonation. Does it resonate with you? Resonance. If it's resonating with you in some way, then self-examination might be something good. And also frequency of feedback. If it's consistently the same kind of feedback that I get from different people, they say, well, I can't understand what you're saying. And I hear that from 10 people. I go, maybe I need to learn how to communicate better.
But I don't buy into that either. I think you just need to find different people. Because like
Okay.
so for example, so like what I'm thinking about is like if I took the horde of unhinged retards on Twitter, they would all say the same thing about me. Carlin is a narcissist, and Carlin is gross.
Yeah, but they're
Carlin's
lying.
fucking-
There's a difference
Well,
between
I know,
observational and lying.
but like from like their perspective, from their perspective, and they do actually say this. Like, you know, everyone says this about Carlin. Everyone has this experience
Which
about
is a
Carlin.
lie.
But I know it's a lie. But that's actually my point. It's their experience, and it is. I mean, I do really think that they do believe it because they're psychotic and unhinged, right? But like, just because it's their experience doesn't mean it's fully encompassing of everyone's experience. And so it's
No.
like but this is my point, is like when you're saying like, you know, if there's a pattern coming up over and over and over again, well, who is it coming from? What are their motivations?
Yeah, but
Like-
if you're
like
looking
what-
at
I
that
mean-
subgroup, you are getting bullshit consistently. I'm talking about a spectrum, not people that are out to get you, but like just a spectrum of anybody else who's not out to get you. Not those.
Well, but no,
those
but this
people
is-
are an
but
extreme
this is-
example.
But this is exactly what I'm saying, though. It might not even be like that extreme. It could just be, oh, I don't like her attitude. Oh my God, she's too masculine. Oh my God, she doesn't do this. She doesn't. I mean, it's like whatever. It's like that doesn't really matter to me.
That's just a judgment call. That's different from like if you're trying to be a communicator and you hear from 10 people, you're not, I don't understand what you're saying, but you want to be a good, effective communicator, then that's a clue that you're not an effective communicator. I'm the general VU, not the specific.
But again,
assholes.
I would say that I don't necessarily know that it does matter, because what if those 10 people that you're trying to communicate with are, no offense, I'm sure everyone you know is awesome, but what if those people are stupid? Like, what if those people are like low IQ retards? Like, honestly, and what if you took that exact same message to 10 people who had maybe 25 higher IQ points and they understood it beautifully? So there was nothing wrong with the message. It was just being targeted at the wrong audience.
And that could be a valid point. I think that if you then again you're learning what your target audience is, which is also useful. And if you want to target people who are going to be active in your work, regardless of level of understanding, that might be a good thing too. But that is up to your agenda in your work. So, you know, without getting, you know, too detailed. Yeah, I mean, I like to listen to all of it, and you know enough about yourself, your own life, and your work as much as I do, and everyone else who knows as much about themselves, what to take and what to leave. But I do always encourage people to take opportunities, especially if you get consistent messages over and over. Just have a look. It might not even be about them. It may not be about their audience, their IQ, their belief system, their anything. But if you're getting a consistent message, I always try and look at it. What is the universe trying to tell me? And take that as like a living tarot card. What is it that I can do to eliminate this message? Because I'm really fucking tired of getting it.
Fair enough.
Like, people enjoy me, and if they don't, or if I feel they don't, I
All right,
feel less.
but pay attention, because none of you do anything you don't believe is benefiting you somehow. None of you. Not for a second. So the question is,
good point.
What belief have you attached to the idea of them not liking you that you believe actually benefits you?
Oh, fuck.
It's a very deep
That's
question.
what I was trying to say. He said it way better.
I feel seen.
That's what I was trying to say. What are they trying to tell you? And he said it like 1,000 times better.
God, because he's an alien.
That's why. He's way smarter than me. I'm a
Here's
low
how
IQ
it works.
viewer.
You all have the same motivational mechanism. You are always, and I mean always, without fail, instantaneously, immediately, you're always going to move in the direction of what you believe is to your benefit. You will always move away from what you believe does not benefit you. Always, without fail. Therefore, if you see yourself moving in the direction, doing things, behaving in ways that don't benefit you, that can only mean you've attached a definition to it that makes it appear to be more beneficial than the alternative. Then you have a definition you can discover. You understand? Then you can find out what that definition is you've attached to that thing, and once you discover what it is, you can unlock that definition from that thing and realize that that definition doesn't serve you, it's nonsensical, it's illogical, you don't need it, you'll drop it, and you will start moving in the direction of your joy, which is what you say you prefer. But if your behavior doesn't follow suit, if your emotions don't follow suit, it's because you're telling yourself a story that to move in that direction will actually be worse than staying where you are as much as you don't enjoy it.
Okay, that
Some
is
people
the
don't move in the
essence.
direction of their highest excitement.
Go ahead.
That is the essence of Dark Goddess work. Looking at the reinforcement of bad behavior or bad beliefs that do not serve you. It's a dark mother that loves you to death. So it gives you these, you have these beliefs. So if I have to have this because this is my comfort zone. But it's, how do I, let me see if I can put this in a more simple way. People who have, say, body pain, and I'm one of them, we are so used to being in pain, we don't know what it feels like to not be in pain. So all of a sudden you go to a massage therapist, you go to a chiropractor, you get everything adjusted, you have a nice spa treatment, maybe you sit in a hot tub, whatever it is, and all of a sudden you don't have any pain, or you start doing yoga, this tightness releases, you're more flexible, and all of a sudden you're like not in pain, and you're like, you don't know what to do with it. So you stop and you go, oh, I can do I did that for a little. I did yoga for a little while, but I just quit because you're used to being in pain. You want that familiar pain. That's what Dark Goddess does. It gives you familiar pain.
I once took a series of classes from about like it was like in the tradition of like the Egyptian mystery schools, and it was with this old hippie chick named Nikki Scully, and she used to like tour with the Grateful Dead, and she does these tours where she goes to Egypt and they do goddess work in the pyramid and all this shit. And so she did a healing on me one time, and it was like about my back because I was having all these like back problems, and like it really worked, and it cleared it up. And she said, Carlin, don't go looking for the pain. And I was like, yep, that's it. Because that's exactly when she did it, I started twisting my back. She's like, don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't look
You're
for
trying
the
to
pain.
find where it's going to hurt.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the thing. And once you get, I notice when I do facials on people, because I'm an esthetician, and I do a muscle massage. And as I do the facial muscle massage, I literally remove all the wrinkles, because wrinkles are a memory of muscle tone.
Oh.
That's one of their causes. Once I massage them away, and especially around the mouth, this is the most interesting thing to me. Once I can go through, because people have lines all through here, I'll go through and I'll do certain massage technique moves through the mouth, and it smooths the skin out. It's perfectly smooth. As soon as I stop touching them, they do this.
Yep.
And they put back all those wrinkles because they're used to where it was. They don't want it to be better. And even when I call them out, don't move your mouth. Relax. Learn how to relax. You don't need Botox. Just learn how to relax. And but it's interesting. But that's what we do. We immediately go, but I'm used to my pain. I need my pain. Yeah.
Crazy.
This is cool.
Because they believe that if they do, as painful as it is to be where they are, it's familiar, it's comfortable, and they're afraid that the unknown will contain something worse. So they will stay as far away from that unknown factor as far as they can. Do you understand?
Yeah.
That's an interlocked belief system that has no business being locked together, because it's not empirically true that the unknown contains danger. That's just your definition of it.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So it's important to find the definitions you've attached to your motivational mechanism that is making it work backwards. And once you detach those things, it will flip around and work forwards for you. But you have to find that definition. Is this helping?
Yeah.
So, what are you afraid will happen if you just be yourself? And so what if they say, oh, I don't like you. You're not lovable to me.
I guess it doesn't matter.
No.
No.
Because only what you say goes for you. Yes?
Yes.
And the irony is, you will find that sometimes when you say, they'll say, oh, she's stronger than I thought. I like her.
So true.
Okay.
You understand?
Yeah.
So start loving yourself enough to be yourself, and allow yourself to have your own opinion of yourself, not one built out of other people's opinions of you. Because those are always much more shaky than your own knowledge of who and what you are, and they cannot stand up and thus you do not have a strong personality when it's built out of other people's opinions, because those are just their opinions, they're not yours, and they carry no substance for you. It's just an illusion that they do.
I love how clear they are.
Yep. I appreciate, and you know what? And I was thinking about, like, again, the horde of unhinged retards with this, because it's like, they don't really hate me. None of them hate me, because if they really did, they would just go away and do other things. What it actually is, it's like a form of super fandom. And I think that I really do think this, and I think this is true of, like, other people. Like, you know, you look at, like, Nick Fuentes. There are people, Jennifer, who have entire shows who make thousands and thousands of dollars just commentating on Nick Fuentes and making fun of him. And it is literally their job to hate him, but they don't really hate him at all. They want him to succeed. They need him to succeed because they need him in order to continue doing whatever it is they're doing, because they would not be able to make all this money if it wasn't for him. And I think it's the same thing with, like, you know, if you, like, I don't think about the people in my life that I've like chosen to burn bridges with. Once I burn a bridge with someone, I'm like, bridge is gone. I'm on this side of the bridge. You're on that side of the bridge. I'm never going to think about you again, unless you try to, like, swim across the fucking water and continue to make my life difficult, in which case we will have words. But, like, I don't think about people, like, forever that I hate, but there are people on the internet that do. And I really think it's more of, like, they're a super fan, and, like, they're pissed off that I'm not giving them, that I'm not saying, I like you, I want your advice, I want your help, please tell me how to be. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong.
No, I think it's the same phenomenon with Trump and the media. They needed him. When Biden was president, they still went back to Trump because they needed that fuel, that clickbait, to get the rage machine, to keep the rage machine going, because that's how they made money. And that's what you're looking at with your horde. They need the rage machine. they are getting attention, and they're getting, and it's just like anybody who needs attention, if they can't get it a positive way, they'll get it a negative way. That's exactly what Frankenstein was about. And also, oh shit, I just lost the last part of that. Fuck, I hate when that happens. But yeah, it has to do with the familiarity of having that clickbait, that rage machine, needing to feed their own. So they have a hole inside that they need to feed by hating someone else. It's not a genuine hate, like you're saying.
Right.
It's not. They just need that negativity because, oh, that's what it was. Because you've done corporate psychology. Yeah.
Yes.
And you've talked to people, and one of the first things I remember of you talking about was an addiction to outrage.
Yep.
The addiction to being mad, the addiction to be offended, the addiction to being like going out and like shaking your fist and screaming at people because there is something else in here that's not being fed. And so they have to go out and scream at someone else because they don't have the courage to scream at themselves. Like we were talking introspection.
Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? It's a manifestation of whatever issue they're working out their issues on other people.
Yes, exactly. It's projection all the way.
Because they don't actually care about the things that they're screaming about. This is why, like,
I think they think they do, but they don't really.
But this is exactly the point. It's like, you know, I mean, so many people wonder, like, you know, why no one cares about all this, like, socialism stuff that I do. Because they don't actually really care about that. They care about working out their feelings on the internet and being mad at everything else. And that's why their feelings completely change with whatever the news cycle is, because it's not actually about that one issue. It's about the news cycle is going to tell you what to be pissed off about. All you need to do is follow the news cycle.
Oh yeah. Well, and also a lot of these people are very lonely and need attention. And so they're mad at being alone. Maybe they're mad at their lack of courage to be able to go outside. Maybe they're overweight. They're not taking care of their body temples. And so they're mad at that. They have no self-esteem. I can't go out in public. People are just going to make fun of me. They have all these perceptions of what other people will think about them without giving it a chance or without even taking care of themselves. So they start shouting at people, and they like that argument. I'm getting attention. Ooh, someone said this. Oh, ticket. You know, that, I'm getting attention. Ticket. I'm interacting socially. Yeah. And it's this perpetual motion rage machine that they've created.
Man. All right, we got one more video, and I feel like this is going to be a good one for us to go out on for this week, because we are going to learn how to manifest our dreams, Jennifer, in 2024.
Cool. There's one more thing I wanted to say before we get into that was about, he was talking about like the devil you know versus the devil you don't. And I think this is really important about being in your comfort zone, and how like I went, a friend of mine took me to one of my first goth clubs back in the day, and I was comfortable there and I loved it. And he was like, "Oh, let's go to this other one." And I was like, "No, I like it here." Like I was literally scared to go to another place. And so he would always take me to the same place. And then finally he was like, "Go to this place. You never know what you don't know. You might like it more." And I went, "Oh, okay." That resonated with me. So we went to the next place. Oh my God, did I like it more? Did I want to go back to the other place? I'm like, "Oh, that place is lame now. This is the best. Yay." And so it taught me how to be open to uncomfortable situations. People say, "Oh, come on, just give it a try." And you're like, "No, I like it here in my safe little box." And then, but if you just give it a try, because here's the worst that can happen. You don't like it, you can always go back to where you were.
True.
Or you might open yourself to a really cool experience, which is what that was. It was really fun. Anyway, I'm done.
First, it is important to realize that you don't have to learn to manifest. You're manifesting, obviously, all the time, or you would not be having any kind of a physiological experience at all. So you're always manifesting. This isn't about learning how to manifest. This is about learning how you already manifest, so you have more conscious recognition, more conscious awareness over the process, understand more clearly the mechanism at work, and how you actually transform concepts from a non-physical, higher level, higher dimension reality into the physical experience that you're all having. The idea begins, of course, with the formation of what we have termed the physical persona, the personality that is composed of the definitions or belief systems and the emotions and the thought processes that then combine to form the behavior of the physical individual that you have chosen to be, to experience yourself as. But in creating the fundamental definitions that underscore...
What do you have to say about that?
Sorry, I didn't realize I'd muted myself. That is a yoni.
What does that mean?
Yoni is the female aspect. It's uterine-like.
He's being receptive.
Yes. It's a channeling mechanism for focus and reception to bring something in to create something else. It's lovely.
That's funny. I was looking at it earlier and I was like, this is one of the reasons that I think this is not fake, because it's like, it's so relaxed. It's just like just touching the tips is not, there's no force to it. It just is.
He's very present, and when you're present, you don't force it. You just simply are touching. And what I like about his channeling technique is, and I would like to hear him talk when he's not channeling, but every being that comes through has their own pattern of speaking. And I'm catching certain little idiosyncrasies in his speech patterns, and I hear that in a lot of channelers where they pause in weird, unnatural places because the message is kind of downloading and they're translating it, and so all of a sudden he's like, "And if we go down the street and we go to the corner, you'll find," and like there's this weird pot, and I'm like, okay, that's authentic. People who bullshit this shit don't do that.
Or that personality construct that creates within your consciousness a certain resonance, a certain frequency. That frequency then is translated into your reality as what may be collectively called a state of being. That energetic state of being, that particular consciousness frequency, then radiates, in a sense, within your consciousness, ripples out from that center point, just to give it a focal point for you, physiologically, to relate to, and is reflected back. Now, that reflection is not actually happening, of course, outside you. It is happening, again, within your consciousness. But we're calling it a reflection for illustrative purposes to make it, again, easier to understand how the mechanism works, at least by analogy. That reflection then encounters something very specific for you to experience
the reflection in the way you do as the experience of physical reality, something specific has to happen. And this is where the manifestation space or the prime belief system actually comes in. This truly primary belief receives the reflection and does something very specific with it, changes the frequency, the resonance, in a very particular way that can be translated by the phrase, "This is real." Without that primary belief telling you that the reflection you're experiencing in your consciousness from the state of being you're creating with your definitions and beliefs, without that phrase, without that recognition, without that enhancement, you would not be capable of experiencing physical.
So at the end of spell work, we always say, "So mote it be." Or if we're encouraging something to become reality, we say, "So mote it be," which means that so it is, basically. Or so that it is, or so that it is real.
Well, it's like when we were talking earlier about like you know, like the Big Bang happened when, you know, the one true energy became aware.
Yeah.
Like it's like I mean, that's kind of saying like I am, it is, right?
Right. Yeah. The differentiation between me and other. Me and not me, essentially. But this is more of a, this is real. I'm bringing this into my reality so that it is me.
Yeah. I am the person that would have this thing.
I am the person that has this thing.
Yeah, that's better phrasing. Yeah. Because you have to see yourself as already having it.
Yeah.
Like you feel the way you would if you already had it. You act the way you would if you already had it. You don't want to be in a state of like wanting it, because then you're always going to be wanting it.
Yeah, that will persist. But if you're like, I have this, or I am the now if you, and like, let's say you want to lose weight, I am 100 pounds lighter, or whatever weight you're trying to lose, 50 pounds lighter. Saying I am that, your mind is already going to fight that because you know it's not true. But if you say I am losing weight, that gives you the process to get to the goal.
Physical reality as if it were real. So manifestation begins in the physical experience with that prime belief that this is real. Now, as you expand your consciousness and begin to recognize more and more often that physical reality is your projection, is your construction, is in a sense an illusion and not really real, in the sense that it doesn't really exist outside of you. It is a construct within your consciousness. But by telling yourself it's real, thus then being capable of making it appear to be outside of you, making it manifest seemingly around you, in your life, in your physical reality. But expanding your consciousness starts to break that down, because you are starting to recognize and realize that physical reality is an illusion. You're starting, in a sense, not to pay as much attention, so to speak, to the prime belief that this is real. You will still pay enough attention to the prime belief, the manifestation space, to still have a physiological experience. But the idea of becoming aware that that's the way it works, and that's the way you reinforce the illusion by having the prime belief that allows you to buy into the collective consensus agreement that what you're experiencing is real, you can still make it more malleable, more flexible, even while you're having the physiological experience. It can become more slippery by allowing yourself a little bit of leeway to start breaking what we call the continuity illusion, the manifestation illusion, the prime.
Go ahead.
He's going into a lot of deep stuff here, and I kind of want to again break the trance.
Yeah, please.
One of the things that I have a little hard time with some of the gurus, and again, not saying anybody's wrong or right, just one of the what trips me up is when he says like, this is not real. And I say, I can buy that to a point, I still have to deal, though, with the reality of it. I have to deal with consequences. I have to deal with my apparently not real bills, my apparently not real like physical body issues, the apparently not real things of like the illness of my pets or my parents or the my friends turning on me or blah blah, all the things that are like my problems, and the successes. Let's not forget those. I like to think about them as well. I still have to deal with reality. Now, if he's saying none of it's real, that reminds me of friends of mine who this is why they dropped out.
I don't think that's what they're saying, though.
So yeah, so that's when, like, okay, again, Capricorn sensibility.
Yeah.
Wants to dig fingers into the earth and have that grounding substance. So if you're getting a different Aries perspective, Aries is fire?
I think yes.
Okay, so help me with this.
I mean, I think that, you know, I'm not really tracking what he's saying here, but I think in general, it's kind of like, you know, I don't think he's saying that real life isn't happening and that you don't have to deal with these things.
That's not really real.
I think he's saying that it's about your perspective on these things. I think it's about, I mean, because like, okay, so I mean, take the death of your pets, which of course is like, you know, it was really hard, and of course, like, you know, we cried and then, you know, all this stuff, and
we got another one coming.
Yeah, I know, and it sucks and it's awful, but at the same time, what I do know about you is that you have some sense that there's a process to life, and that the pets were here for a time to love you and to take care of you, and you were here to take care of them, and it was never supposed to be an infinite thing, and there's a process to this, and they never really leave you, and you have, you know, a beautiful ceremony you do when you're letting them go and all this stuff. And so it's not saying that this isn't real, but if you draw back and you look at the bigger picture, it can help you understand it differently, is I think what he's saying.
I'm getting that. Excuse me. I'm getting that he's talking more about. Hold on a second. I got a coffee and my throat just dried out.
That's all right.
I'm getting the sense. Oh, Lord.
That's okay. Everyone mount the like button. Send positive vibes to Jennifer.
Maybe I'm not supposed to say it. I've got a gremlin in my throat. I think what he's saying is that it's like if people say if you truly, truly believe you can walk through a wall, you could walk through a wall. This concept was introduced to me by my friend who like shaded the beer in the fridge.
Yeah.
It was like, if you believed it really, really real, you could walk through a wall. You would. The problem is that people don't actually believe that.
Right.
So I think he's talking about the difference between accepting the reality we're given and transforming the reality into what we want.
Well, that's almost being like a godlike figure, though. And you said yourself, your friend has studied a lot of advanced shit.
Oh yeah.
Right. That's like that's like Jesus level walking on water sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's not that any of us can't do that. It's that it is a long process between where most people are and that godlike level of existence, right?
Well, and also, what purpose would it serve to walk through a wall? Like, who gives a shit, really? I have doors. I'm fine.
That's cool.
It would be cool. Just like shadowing a beer, but that's a simpler energy transition. But I mean, because then I don't have to actually rearrange my molecules, because they talked about like you just change your molecular vibration to the same molecular vibration as the wall, and you can just go flip. I'm like, oh, cool. Let me get right in that, Mr. Data. You know, but as far as like manifesting, he's right in that you can create your reality. And that what we're going through, and this is where I like to work on a dichotomatic level, or dichotomatic. Well, anyway, where it is real and it's not real. In other words, what you're going through is true and real and malleable.
Yeah.
So that's how, on a human level, because he's saying, well, you just think it's all real. And we're all sitting like, wow, none of this is real, man. Pass the bowl. You know, and it's like, I can't. This is another thing that I have a problem with aliens. They're like so altruistic. They're like way up here. We're like, okay, and but you can damage people with that, because then they start dropping out. None of it's real, man. I don't have to do anything. I just walk through life and people take care of me.
That's why you
It's
need
amazing.
to be grounded.
Yep.
Most of those people aren't grounded.
Yep. They are not.
Like psychics are crazy because they're not grounded.
But I'm psychic.
You're grounded. You're a Capricorn.
It's true. With a Virgo moon, so I'm double Earth.
Yeah, you're double grounded.
I'm double grounded. Double dog.
You're not
dairy
crazy
grounded.
like most psychics are crazy though.
Some can be. Some can be. They do have to have a foot on the ground though, and some of them have to learn that. I have to learn how to put my head in the stars. That's where I can struggle sometimes. So anyway, but I just wanted to kind of talk about that reality versus not reality thing, because both are true. Don't get lost in the language.
All right, I'm tracking.
Belief illusion that this is real. Don't misunderstand. The experience of physical reality is real.
See?
But physical reality itself is just a projection, just an illusion, and isn't real unto itself without you manifesting that experience by telling yourself over and over again
real and it's
every
not real
moment
at the same
that
time.
this is
Deal
real.
with it.
So when you begin to wrap your mind around the understanding that there is a specific space, a specific resonance point within your consciousness that we are calling the manifestation space or the prime belief that is reinforcing the idea that what you're experiencing is real, you can now begin to play with it a little bit more consciously. Again, not completely letting it go, but allowing it to be a little bit more plastic, a little bit more malleable, so you can begin to work with it in more conscious ways and allow yourself to begin to manifest the things that are truly more in alignment with your preference, with your resonance, with your true signature vibration, instead of manifesting things that might be out of alignment with it. This will also help reduce the amount of processes that you might need to arrive at any particular point in your life. By allowing things to work for you instead of believing that you have to make them work, you will allow this manifestation space, this resonant point within your consciousness, to begin to truly align with the fundamental frequency of your being, and in so doing, allowing physical reality as a projection to become a little bit more transparent to you as a projection, thus allowing for more slippage in your space-time experience.
So what he's saying is, like, you are creating everything that you have and everything that you're experiencing, and if you can understand that this is a projection of what's going on inside you, that allows you the ability to change what you're experiencing, because it's all coming from you in the first place.
I think this is another way of saying you can choose to have a good day or a bad day.
Yeah. Basically. Yeah, I agree.
You can go through, because, like, I think a lot of these metaphysical things, like, we take it literally. Like, I can literally change my reality. In other words, the entire world will change because of what I think. That's very egocentrical and not healthy. But your perception, how you deal with things, is your reality. And I think that's what he's trying to remind us of.
Well, I think too, I mean, I don't know if I agree with you on that point, because I think that if we change the way we're interacting in our reality, then the reality will change based on how we're interacting with it. So in that sense, we can very literally change reality.
I guess that's kind of the same point in a different way. Yeah, it's a different way of explaining it. That we can change our reality by changing our attitude towards it.
Yes, we change our experience based on changing the way we can approach it, which is all we can really do. We can't change other people, we can't change other things, but if we change the way we're interacting with them, then they may change the way they're interacting with us.
Well, remember when I was telling you about that meditation, quick meditation that Joshua, the psychic, was talking about? And I did that again today when I went and ran my errands. I surround everybody I'm going to interact with love today, and please make my day easier. I will make my day easier for you. Every interaction I had today was so pleasant and so sweet. Even people driving around me was amazing. I even hit all the green lights. I couldn't even believe it. I'm like, that's not even a person. I had like the nicest, most fluid day. And it's like, God, attitude really is everything. Okay, fuck me.
Yeah.
I need to watch myself.
It's true.
and the breaking, as we said, of what you typically call continuity, where things can manifest much more rapidly, where there doesn't have to be as much attention paid to the concept of time or space in which manifestations appear to occur. So by just knowing and just visualizing and just imagining in any way, shape, or form that works for you, this resonance point within your consciousness, this manifestation space, this prime belief where you're telling yourself, this is real, and allowing that to become a conscious, or at least more conscious, directive that you're telling yourself about the reflections you're creating within your consciousness, you can begin to see things start to break apart a little bit more. Things become a little bit more magical in their manifestation. The increase in synchronicity can be quite profound when you wrap your mind around and pay attention to the fact that you have that manifestation space, that resonance point within your consciousness that is constantly reinforcing the idea of physical reality as a real experience, as a real thing. So the more you pay attention to that, the more you're aware that that exists, the more you may, in your journeys through life, as you follow your passion to the best you're able, with no insistence on a particular outcome, actually find yourself capable of manifesting things that are far more representative and far more reflective of your passion, of your joy, of your synchronicity, of your being, of your creativity, of your love, of all the different ways that you might choose to express yourself in positive and constructive ways within your life, by knowing that you're the one that determines whether something really is real or not. Now, again, there is the consensus level to this, where you will not necessarily let go of all that you have agreed to in terms of playing this game called physical reality on Earth. And certainly,
I like that he refers to it as playing a game. Playing this game of physical reality on Earth.
I like it too. It makes me feel like I'm a character in The Sims.
Mm-hmm.
I also love the phrase consensus level reality. Is that the phrase? I was writing that down because I want to remember it, and if I write things down, I remember them better. That is a macrocosmic consciousness, and I think it's a really important thing.
Yep.
You can relax some of your agreements, however, with the consensus to start allowing whatever it is that is more representative of you as an individual to begin to appear in your life, to begin to manifest in ways that serve you, while knowing that when you do that, you are actually also serving the whole, serving the consensus agreement, because it's about becoming the piece of the puzzle picture that you were created to be more clearly. And just being in that shape will allow other pieces to also simply be the shape they were created to be, so that all the pieces fit together more seamlessly, more harmoniously, more effortlessly in that way. Now, again, the idea of manifestation, as we will remind you, please understand again, as we have just described, it is not something you're doing in terms of bringing something from somewhere else to where you are. Everything is here, and everything is now. Much of it might be invisible to you at this moment, and that's all right, because it's operating on a frequency that is representative of someone that you are still in process of becoming. And as soon as you become that person, as soon as you match the frequency of that invisible thing that is already here, then you begin to perceive it. So this idea of wrapping your mind around this manifestation space, this resonant point, this prime belief, this is real. As soon as you start really playing with that and start recognizing that that exists within you to reinforce the reflection much more often with your awareness, then you will see that the manifestations will occur automatically, because you're simply shifting your vibration and recognizing what has always been here that is relevant for you to experience in your life. And it will always appear in perfect timing when you are focusing on that resonant focal point and knowing that you're the one telling yourself that this is real, this is real, this is real. But the awareness that you're telling yourself that, paradoxically, does a little bit of just the opposite. This is an illusion, this is an illusion, this is an illusion, because I have to tell myself this is real in order for it to be an experience. If you didn't have to tell yourself it was real, then yes, it would be real in the classic meaning of that term. But because you actually have to convince yourself it's real, that tells you that it's not real. It's an illusion. The proof, in a sense, and we know that sometimes we don't necessarily think about physical reality.
Hang on, go ahead.
Give that a moment. That you have to reinforce reality for it to be real.
But the fact that you need to reinforce it tells you that it's not real.
Right.
Because you're still not there yet.
Exactly. You haven't accepted it into your life yet. That's interesting. And I would say into your psyche also, but like, because I think everything starts here. That's pretty cool. I love that.
I think that's why, like, so I sometimes do these meditations where if I'm trying to like attract specific things, I like, you know, I mean, like super specific things, which I probably shouldn't be doing. And Joshua always told me not to do that because you might not actually want that specific thing. But I do it anyway because I'm an Aries and I'll do what I want and he whatever. And
you're like experimenting.
Yeah, you're like, well, I mean, and a lot of times it is because a lot of times I'm like, can I actually just do this, right? And so I'll do these meditations where for like, I don't know, like the 10-15 minutes that I'm in the meditation, like that is reality. But then the thing that I struggle with is like you need to let it go, because if you keep thinking about it and ruminating on it, that's when it's like it's not real. That's when your brain starts fucking with you. But if you're able to just let it go and like I try to do them before I go to sleep, because that way I fall asleep, and that actually tends to work out the best because then I'm not overthinking things. Or like, you know, there have been times when like I'll get up and I'll like just put myself into like another project or something, or you have to stop fucking thinking about it, because if you keep thinking about it, you're gonna screw it up.
Yeah.
Like you've got it perfect. You have it.
Let it go. Let it flow.
Yeah.
Let
and
it go.
Trust when you let it go that it is. I mean, that's part of the thing is like to be able to let it go, you have to trust that you've already done what's required. You don't need to do anymore.
Trust the process.
Yeah.
Trust it. Well, and that's like when people go, well, how will you get that? Because you do that to yourself. How will I get this? I want this thing. I'm going to bring this thing in. And then the thinky parts start going, well, how are you going to do that? They go through the mechanics and all the doubt starts to seed.
Yeah, you don't need to do that. You
well,
need to vision what you want.
You can, but the thing is that it is part of the human experience to doubt and to figure things out for many of us. And that's okay. And I'm saying this for people who have a hard time doing this. It's okay to let those doubts come in. Here's the perfect answer. I don't know. How's this going to happen? I don't know. I don't know, but I trust that it will. And there's a movie called Quills. I don't know if you've ever seen it. With
I love that movie. I've actually been thinking about that movie lately. I was like, I want to watch Quills for some reason. It's a fucked up movie.
It's so good. It's such a good movie. But then he's a crazy writer who's locked away in an asylum, and he's like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And they're like, well, how are you going to do it? He goes, I don't know. It's a mystery. And I love that. He was excited that he didn't understand it. And then he was like going to let the process unfold in front of him. And I remind myself of that when I'm like, I don't know, all these things. I don't know. It's a mystery. Let the mystery unfold. Just trust the process. Let's do this. Just stop the noise. And it's hard to do, but I notice that the more I say, I don't know, but I'm open to receive it. It gets easier.
Well, see, that's the thing is you have to be open to receive it, because I think a lot of people, they put these obstacles in the way of it, so it prevents it from coming to you because you don't feel worthy of it, or you doubt it, or like whatever, you know.
Just say I don't know, and that's okay. It's okay not to know. We don't have to figure everything out right now. Let it happen. I didn't know how I was going to meet my husband, but I did.
Yeah,
you know?
I thought a lot about that with Victor. Like Victor and I used to talk about our relationship like it was the movie The Adjustment Bureau, because it was every fucking crazy circumstance had to happen for us to. I mean, he literally grew up on the other side of the world. I mean, it's just like, and we ended up meeting in Vermont when he wasn't even supposed to be my mover that day. It's just like every crazy confluence happened, and it's just like you don't have to have a plan. Just allow it to happen.
Sometimes it's best if you don't, and all of a sudden it happens. You're like, oh, whoa, this is it.
Yep.
Let it go.
True.
It's great.
All right, we got 3 more minutes of this video.
Let's do it.
This way, but the proof, in a sense, is as follows. We have talked about the idea that you are really an indestructible, eternal, and infinite being, and that everything exists here and now, which means you do too. That there is really only a single moment. There is really only a single spot.
What do you think he means by there is only a single moment, Jennifer?
Certainly not what you're thinking, I'm sure, Carlin.
Everything that has ever happened or will ever happen is happening. Everything that has ever happened or will ever happen is happening right now. That's what he means. Time is not real. We are in a single moment right now. There is no past. There is no future. It is right now.
Which means this cast, this little thing we're doing, I was going to say podcast, I don't even know what this is. This live stream is not actually 3 hours long. It's totally fine. It's a minute. It's
true.
It's a millisecond.
True.
That means existence, in a sense, is permanent. The fact that things in physical reality are not permanent should tell you everything you need to know about the fact that it's an illusion. That's why it breaks down over time. Because it is an illusion. Because things that are actually real, like your existence, never change. They're permanent. So the very fact that you see things break down over time, disintegrate over time, get worn over time in your physical reality is a sign that what you're dealing with isn't real, that you have to actually work to maintain it over a period of time by convincing yourself that it's real. But over time, that loosens its interest. It loosens the bond. You start to recognize as you become more aware that physical reality is not real. And that's why even within the consensus,
I think he's just talking about the recognition that you have the ability to influence these things. And if you aren't putting conscious effort into maintaining something, that thing's going to fall apart. And if you don't want to maintain, that's fine. You can move on to the next thing. And but if you do want to maintain it, you now have the recognition that that is a reflection of what you're giving to the situation.
Okay. I thought he was talking about physical reality. I think I was on a different understanding plane there. So I was thinking this is why things break down. I was thinking about bodies breaking down, and because that's on my mind right now because of my pets. But so that's where I went. So that was a different level of understanding. So I agree with what you're saying though.
Cool.
Things start disintegrating, deteriorating, falling apart, because you're the one that has to hold it together to perpetuate it. So the very fact that physical reality is impermanent tells you it's not real. You're the one that's maintaining it. You're the one that continues to manifest it. And the changes that occur are the changes that are relevant for you to understand in whatever way it's important for you to understand that physical reality is just a projection and it's not something that needs to last. But you will, because you exist and you have that fundamental quality of existence. Is this making some sense to all of you? Yes. No. So let your mind just sort of ponder the idea of the manifestation space of the prime belief, where you are taking reflections created by your belief system and using the prime belief to convince yourself this is real. And by realizing that you're doing that, letting yourself relax the reality factor so that it can become flexible enough for you to begin to allow it to align with your fundamental vibration sufficiently to begin to experience manifestation on a whole new level.
Man.
So in short, people get caught in these cycles of thinking where I am is where I am is where I am is where I am.
Yeah.
And he's saying it's not real. Alter your perception, alter your ideas, alter what you want, and think in that pattern.
Well, he's also saying though, and I think this is really important to the bigger picture, he's saying that whatever you have now, you're manifesting this.
But yeah.
This isn't just happening to you, you're manifesting this. And if you're manifesting this current reality, then if you want your reality to be different, then the first thing that has to happen is there has to be some acknowledgement that your current reality is changeable and that is under your control, because then you can put yourself in a position where you can create a new reality and then align yourself more to that.
There's nothing more frustrating than having a conversation with someone who's asking for help and you come up with 100 different ways to help them, and they go, oh, well, I can't because of this, oh, I can't because of that, oh, I can't because of, and it's just everywhere you go, it's just a block and a block and a block. And I like to think of life as like a puzzle to be solved, a maze that sometimes you need to go through. Sometimes you encounter a dead end, but you can backtrack and try a different route, because you have to think creatively and you have to think multidimensionally. And some people just encounter that end and they go, nope, that's a wall. Nope, that's a wall. It's still a wall. And they're not seeing the openings. And it's like, so when I work with someone who's like, help me blah 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 this, and I start questioning, and then they go, all these can'ts, and I say, well, then you don't really want to fix it, do you? Oh, but I do. No, you don't, because you come up with every reason why you can't and not one why you can.
Jennifer, I can't tell you how many people, when I was doing corporate consulting, how many people would literally pay me thousands of dollars to try to help them. They wanted another job, they wanted a higher level position, and they paid me thousands of dollars to help them. And then I said, okay, are you ready to update your resume? Can I take a look at that? Oh, no, I don't want to update it. Okay, well, can we, do you have some jobs that you want to apply for? Can we do some searches? Can we set up in some Indeed.com alerts? Like how do you want to go about this? And they're like, no, I don't want to, I'm not qualified for that job. And I'm like, and I, of course, was much nicer about this, but I'm like, you literally just paid me $1,500. You know what job you want. You know what the qualifications are, but you're refusing to update your resume and you're refusing to apply for the job that you are literally telling me is your dream job. Like, what do you want me to do here?
So what they've done is they've reinforced their belief that nothing works. Yeah. Oh, I paid a consultant to help me and it didn't work. Leaving out the fact that they're the ones who blocked everything.
Yep.
It didn't work. Nothing I did work. I tried all the things. Nothing worked. My life sucks. Okay, you've just created my life sucks and all the reasons why your life will continue to suck. Yep. You have to think outside of the box. You have to try crazy shit sometimes. Sometimes you have to just go, I'm going to drop it all. I'm dropping it all and I'm going to reinvent.
I'll tell you what, I learned so much about people when I was doing coaching.
I'll bet.
It's like it is amazing how many roadblocks people put in their own way, and it could be like most of the time the solution is so simple. It's like, have you applied for the job? Have you made the phone call? Have you set up the meeting? And it's just like it was like just those little steps, and then once they did it, they were fine. But it was just like getting over those initial steps was like the biggest mind fuck for a lot of people.
Same thing with relationships. I have a lot of beautiful, wonderful, amazing single male friends who just want that perfect blah, blah, blah thing. And I'm like, what have you done to go get it?
Yeah.
Well, I've been thinking about it a lot. Well, have you left your house? Leave your house. Go out somewhere. Well, I go to the grocery store. Okay. I met my husband at a party. People meet their spouses at, I don't know, social places like bars. I mean, I hate to say bars. It's not the only place you can meet someone. There's all kinds of avenues now where you can go out with groups of people and just get out there. What is she going to show up at your door and go, ding, ding, Avon calling. I'm the perfect woman.
You can go
get out
dating.
there. Yeah.
You can go to a meetup on meetup.com.
Try all things.
Go to the fucking, like, I don't know, like go play Dungeons and Dragons at a comic book store or something. I'm sure there are girls sometimes that go to that sort of thing.
I do.
Yeah, well, this is what I'm saying. Yes. It's like go to places where people do stuff that you have and they won't do it. And it's like,
with your common interests.
Well, like, I hear this all the time from, like, you know, I mean, the gripers actually don't do this as much as people think that they do, but certainly there are some of them, they're like, you know, I want this type of girl and that doesn't exist. Well, I'm like, I think those types of girls do exist. You just need to go to the places where they are.
And you also have to accept the fact that they may not have 100% of the check boxes on your list.
Yeah.
There's going to be flaws involved. This is a human thing we're talking about.
Yeah.
When I started manifesting my husband, I manifested the fuck out of him. I mean, like, I was like getting a husband. Well, I wanted a mate. That's what I said, mate. Mm-hmm. And I knew I was going to have to do some things I didn't want to do. And this is true if you want to start a new career, if you want to if you want to move to a new house or a new state, it doesn't matter. You have to do uncomfortable things because what's the definition of insanity?
Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
Yeah. So do something else, do something different, something that's uncomfortable. I went on 2 dating sites, 2 free dating sites, came away with a couple really great friends that I'm still in touch with. No boyfriends though, but all that did is it opened the energy to me because I said yes. And the energy said, oh, she's aligning with her desires. She's saying yes. I went on dates. I went on dates with people I'm not compatible with. It didn't matter. I said yes to the universe. And I said, bring him to me. I'm opening the avenue of that energy. And by happenstance, I met him at a party. And it just, like you said, things align because you have to be open to them. If you go, well, I want this, but if there's a but, you're not open to it.
Yep.
Bless your heart. I mean well, but damn, get rid of the butts. Got a big butt.
I laugh at some of some of the groypers sometimes when they're talking. I hear them talking about like marriage and like what that's gonna be like, and I'm like, honey, do you guys you understand, right? She's gonna get older at some point, and I promise you, she's gonna gain weight, and I it's
Things
like,
are gonna sag.
And guess what? You're gonna gain weight too, and it's gonna be okay.
And you're gonna sag.
It's gonna be okay.
And at one point, certain things aren't going to work so well. And it won't matter how good she is. It's going to matter that she's a good person, a good friend, and a good companion. Because ask me how active people are in their 70s and 80s. I mean,
sometimes those 70 and 80-year-olds are feisty though. They're doing all sorts of stuff in the old folks' home. You know that. You've heard stories.
Well, what is the biggest retirement village in Florida is like the biggest STD.
Yeah, because they're all
nest
sleeping with each
ever.
other. And it's like, you gotta love it. It's like all these old people are just like having these fucking orgies in the old folks' home. It's
They're
like,
living their best lives.
God bless them, man.
Give me hope. I hope I can. No, I don't. Anyway, so but that's the thing is if you sit there with all of your little stipulations and all your little rules and all the things that you need to have happen for this one perfect spark, you are putting too much on yourself and you're giving yourself all the reasons why you shouldn't even try. And you have to let things be random. You have to be open to it. Let it happen. It's not going to be the perfect. Is my husband the perfect guy that I envisioned? No. Am I the perfect woman he envisioned? Probably not. So just let it be. Let it. You know what though? I fucking love that guy. I didn't ever think I could live with someone for 14 years in the same house because I've had roommates, and trust me, I couldn't wait till their fucking year was over. This guy, I keep him around. I like him.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I think this was a really successful night with Bashar, Jennifer. Are you pissed off at me for talking so much about time not being real?
Not at all. You're welcome to have your own bullshit. I accept you.
All right. I'm going to make a t-shirt just for you. It's going to say time is not real.
It's fine.
Just for you.
I believe that it's not real out here.
When we eventually have our retreat somewhere, I'm going to make everyone else wear a t-shirt and we're all just going to show up. We're all going to be wearing the same t-shirt. And you're...
No, it's not that time isn't real. I think it's everything is happening at the same time or whatever everything that's ever happened or whatever is happening at the same time. That's where I go, no. I want to respond to Yasmin and Bot. They're like, if time's not real, we should just do the long video next. And I'm
no, it is real though, because it's midnight now.
Oh, I got her to say it. Thank you.
It is real in this particular plane of reality.
That's what I was saying earlier, damn it.
But there are all sorts of other planes in reality that we can jump to at any given time. And they're all happening right now simultaneously. We are multiple.
Fuck. God damn it.
It's just that our consciousness right now is in this plane. But if we wanted to, we could go to a different one.
I'm firmly rooted in the time right now.
I'm not motivated to get into a meditative trance to jump realities right now. It's midnight.
I have a giant steak to cook and scallops to sear.
Oh, I forgot I was taking you away from cooking steak. I apologize, Jennifer.
Husband's gonna be home. He's not home yet. He'll be home soon. He just texted me he's on his way. So I've got some. He's not gonna eat dinner till midnight. This is our life because he works late. So we don't have dinner till like midnight. So I get time.
Cool. Well, that's all I have for this week. Do you have any other concluding thoughts before we wrap up?
This was awesome. I enjoyed this greatly. I loved how you surprised me with this. I look forward to further surprises. We've got Movie Night coming up on Sunday. We're going to be doing What Dreams May Come.
Oh, yeah. What Dreams May Come. That's an awesome movie.
Beautiful movie starring the best of the best, Robin Williams. And I don't know what Mac is doing on Monday. I didn't check the Movie Night thing. I'm not sure what he's got going, but he's got something going. So check if you guys are part of the Discord, Carlin's Discord, please join it. There's lots of amazing discussions there. They've got the zines thing. They've got AI music. Everybody is so creative. It's really cool. There's a writing group over there that's fantastic. So like everybody get over there. I have a writing group too. If you're interested in joining mine, you just let me know. Just PM me on, is it PM me or DM me? I always say PM because we used to say personal message. DM me, direct message, whatever. So yeah, and I've got my own Discord if you're interested, but definitely check out all of Carlin's features on her Discord, and you join that by
going over to my Substack, carlin.substack.com, and going to the Unwoke Roundup email and scrolling down to the bottom, and that will have the Discord link.
Yes.
Or DM me on Twitter and ask me and make sure you're a paying supporter somewhere.
Yep. And just something like that. And we'll get you into the movie nights and all the wonderful features that are happening on the Discord. They've been so active. It's very cool. I love you guys. Oceans of love and mount the like.
Thank you, Jennifer. And I will be back tomorrow. I promise tomorrow I will do a stream. I will not cancel it, but I was in a writing mood, and so I had to go with it. And so that was just for today, but I promise I will be back tomorrow with a 5 p.m. stream. But that's all we have for tonight, guys. Take care. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Good night.